Bliss.
Hey, Kenzie.
It's kind of like a dragon in here.
It's a bit like a dragon in here.
It's a little bit maybe like a dragon and a turtle and a tiger and a phoenix.
It's a whole menagerie up in this place.
There's multiple protagonists in 4. It's a joke.
Oh, cool. That's exciting. You all kind of hinted that at me for a bit, and I wasn't fully aware that we were going to be switching it up a bit.
Yeah.
That's exciting.
Yeah. Yeah, so this is our first one where we don't have a huge engine jump, but in exchange, we got new guys in
We're
here.
still on the PS3?
We're still on the PS3, but there's new guys.
Oh, lots of guys.
I'm excited for you to meet the new guys.
Awesome. There's one in particular that you have been super excited for me to see.
I have to stop hyping him up so bad. He's my lame-ass boyfriend. He doesn't do anything. You have to understand.
Look, the thing is, when a friend has attached themselves to a character, I immediately love the character because I love my friends. And I'm going to see him, and I'm going to think of you, and I'm going to be like, aw, that's Kenzie's lame-ass fail wife, and I can't wait. I can't wait.
Oh, so we're going to divvy this one up just by protagonist, so.
It'll be 1 through 4.
Easy quarters.
To the new guy, and then we'll H, and then, checking in.
Yeah.
We're in it now. This feels like we're really in it.
We're in it now.
We're doing it.
We're doing it.
All right. See you later.
See ya. It's Akiyama time, baby.
I met a very special boy.
A very special boy today. Yeah, so we're not Kiryu for, well, not the first time, I guess, if you count 0.
If you count 0, but...
And 2. Fuck.
Oh.
Never mind. Forget it.
Who were we in 2?
We were Majima briefly.
Oh, briefly. But I guess in, release order, if we're talking about, the game opening, this is the first time a game opens with, a completely different character.
Yeah. A very different character.
Very different character. I had a good time with this set of chapters with him. That was fun.
It's interesting to get to be a new guy, I guess. It starts out with him reading an article about how there's a serial killer in Kamurocho, but that is none of our business. Do we have a job to do? Or not
Ain't
do?
None of our
Mostly
business.
not do.
Ain't got nothing to do with us.
We're Akiyama now. He's I always want to say loan shark, but that feels mean.
He always kind of vehemently denies being a loan shark.
I don't know what the word is.
Money lender.
I don't know what the non-derogatory word.
Money lender is the word that he prefers.
There's not a non-derogatory word for this job. Which is fun because he's a civilian, but not really.
He's kind of in it.
He's just as well known as Kiryu, arguably. So he's a fun little middle ground there. He also has my favorite fighting moveset, and not just because I'm biased.
And no, I love his fighting moveset. It's really fun.
Yeah.
Man kicks like a crane.
It's really fun. On our way to avoid doing our job, goes to visit the Kanamura family, and I love just the way he conducts himself. That he can walk into a Yakuza family office and just talk shit. Because
the way
he's fucking paying their bills.
The way the scene was laid out was really funny, too, because you got Kido and him talking to some of his other guys. As soon as he just, pops his head in like it's a sitcom, and you want the laugh track to play. You expect the laugh track to play and the clapping to go. It's like, yay, it's Akiyama!
And the way he, drapes himself across the couch, bro.
This is a funny little man we've met.
There's some new shit happening in the Tojo, because there's always some new shit happening in the Tojo.
Get ready, there are about 15 different names going to be thrown at you in the course of 30 minutes.
Yeah, they just drop shit. So these guys are real low down the Tojo totem pole. And the Ueno Siwa, a technically independent clan that the Tojo's kind of buddy-buddy with and leave alone in exchange for some large donations, are starting shit with them. And they can't really start shit back without starting a whole kerfuffle, but Akiyama is tossing gas on the fire because he comes in what, you're just gonna let them walk all over you like that? That's crazy. That's embarrassing. I wouldn't do that. That's really, wow. Oh, okay.
Embarrassing.
The way that 4 introduces information, which I'm sure we'll talk about more once we get to other people, is like 4 is one of the most convoluted plots so far. And it's made worse by the fact that they want like each character to have their own plot line they're doing. So they will just like toss little bits of things. Like we get this little hint of this fire starting, but don't really get the payoff for it until like way later. Because you only get the part that it's like, it's interesting and I like it, but it also has like its own drawbacks.
That's kind of what I saw. I'm hoping that it'll come together, because one of my favorite storytelling like tools is when you retell the same story but from different perspectives. Which I don't expect this to be exactly that, but I do love seeing a conflict from several different angles. I think that's like really fun and interesting. And so the fact that we are getting several different angles of a conflict, I don't know which conflict. There's a lot of them happening, actually.
There's a lot of them happening.
But I'm interested. My curiosity is piqued.
The shift we had in 3, where it went from like the first 2, you learn your final boss right out the gate. And then 3, it's more of like a secret surprise. That's going to continue. The final boss is going to continue being a secret for the rest of the series.
Fun.
And I don't think that's always a bad thing, but I think that like...
There is something to say about being able to set up a boss in relationship to that final conflict at the end from the beginning.
And I think they do figure it out, and there's some that are really, really good. 4 and 5 are interesting, and there's a lot of interesting things going on, but they are more about the journey than the destination to me. Sometimes you spend a long time chasing down a mystery, and the payoff is like, oh, okay.
All right. We'll get there.
I'm getting incredibly sidetracked immediately.
What happened next?
So after Akiyama leaves the office, and the second he leaves the office, the patriarch comes out and it's like, is that fucking guy gone? Holy shit. Kido, I really love this cutscene of, it's Kido telling the new guy about like who Akiyama is, and he's saying all of this like he's a nut job, he like runs around intimidating people so they don't get out of town, no one who's ever borrowed from him borrows from him again, and nobody knows why, and like all these every like shitty rumor that goes around the city about him. And it's overlaid over this cutscene of him like buying a bunch of food and beer and passing it out to all these homeless guys who owe him money and not collecting a single cent.
Which is absolutely hilarious in hindsight when you do like a bunch of his sub stories, and which are just him doing his job, and it's fucking hilarious.
Yeah, I really love him as a character a lot. Also, this is when Kido mentions that shut up. Kido mentions that he's 32, which always fucks me up, that he's younger than Daigo. Daigo would be 36 at this point.
Oh god, he is.
Daigo's 34, I'm sorry.
Oh yeah, not too terribly younger.
I have the timeline in my head. So then while he's out, we also get a name drop of Arai, who is another Kanamura family member, and they talk about him very much like he's when they're talking about the Ueno Siwa situation, they're like talking about like sending him in to take care of it. Like he's very much the guy who knows what he's doing in this very ramshackle outfit. Akiyama sees him going to deal with Ueno Seiwa, who are camping out at a bar that's under their territory, and he decides he's gonna fucking get himself involved instead.
Because why not?
Because why
not? Seems like a fun thing to do.
At least partially because if he can solve it without them getting involved, then it doesn't count as an act of war. Because he does show up and be like, oh, well, I'm just a civilian, so this doesn't mean anything, right?
Right.
But that doesn't quite work out. Arai shows up, and he almost handles this without anyone getting hurt.
Very nearly.
Very nearly. so we'll give him some credit, but he gets shot.
Grazed with a bullet.
Grazed, at least. Also, him and Akiyama talk about, like, Akiyama is trying to prop him up to be a successful Yakuza, and part of his terms of his loan with every time I say the name of the family, I have to find it in my notes again, because the name just escapes me the second I say it. Part of the terms of his loan with Kanamura
this kept happening with me too. I was like, oh god, who are these people? Okay. The names weren't sticking for a bit there.
Yeah, I have like the shape of the word in my head. I'm like, it starts with a K, it's like 8 or 9 letters, but I could not gun to my head tell you what it is.
Mashing the sounds together.
I do that all the time we're gonna get to, what's his name, Sugiyuchi, the cop later. If I call him Sugiura, That is a character from Judgment, and that is me fucking up.
Got it.
His name's Sugiyuchi, but I called him the wrong name like 3 times in my notes already. Anyway. So they talk about Arai kind of does this like, why are you going so out of your way for me thing, and Akiyama's like, I just like you. Don't worry about it, buddy.
I believe in you.
I think this is also the first time they name drop. He says something like, you could be as big as the dragon of Dojima.
Kiryu mention!
Yeah. It's a little hammy the way it's like, oh, you could be as big as Kiryu Kazuma, the legend. But it's fun that there's like, the city feels his absence, and there's this sense of like, well, somebody's got to take that place.
I think he explicitly says something about the city needing a leader. Later, much later. I'm getting ahead of myself.
Yeah, no, you're good. We get a call from Hana-chan, our secretary.
Oh, the best girl. I love her.
She's mad at us.
Oh, dear.
As she always is.
Rightfully so, I'll be honest.
I love Hana so much. I wish the game loved her more. Unfortunately, I wish she wasn't the butt of a fat joke every 5 minutes.
God, me too, because I genuinely adore her, and there are some moments between her and Akiyama that are, like, genuinely adorable, and and I'm like, come on.
I live in a fantasy world where I erase the parts of their interactions that are genuinely kind of gross and upsetting.
Yeah.
and they just have this like stupid codependent dysfunctional relationship in my mind.
The parts that
it's a lot more fun for me.
Cutting out was just some guy in the writer's room who sucks and nobody likes, but he has they have to let him in. That guy sucks and he's locked out of our brain. He's not allowed in.
So Hana wants us to come back, or I've become Akiyama now. Wants Akiyama to come back because she wants to go home, but there's like people outside and she's kind of skeeved out about it. And sure enough, when we get back to Sky Finance, we run into our good friend Arai again. What's he
doing?
What's he up to?
Oh dear.
He is standing over the dead body.
The guy is super dead. The corpses in this game are gross.
Yeah, I remember something about his face is super unnerving to me. There's something like uncanny and weird about it that I do not like.
I think it's the eyes.
There's some like
I think it's the eyes that fuck me up.
There's some like genuinely gory stuff later when they get more realistic with the graphics that bother me less than this guy.
Yeah.
I hate looking at him.
What I have noticed, it's like the eyes and the expressions on the face. They really kind of nailed facial expressions with this game. It being on the PS3 alongside 3 is wild to me because it is such a jump in quality.
Yeah, there's a real jump in like you said, facial animations and stuff. There's also just little things, like there's a part at the start of chapter 2, I think. I'm jumping ahead again. But when Akiyama's leaving the police station where he has his jacket off and over his shoulder, like that's a whole separate model and rigging thing that they had to do.
There's a lot
to make him take his jacket off for one scene.
There's something I noticed where he like puts his hand in his pocket and the jacket's kind of draped over his arm a little bit. I'm like, God damn, this is on the PS3.
Yeah, it's one of those things that you start this. I'm getting on another tangent again, but I'm not good. Whatever.
I brought you on this tangent. Sorry.
No, it's good. It's funny because like watching it for like a second time now, I'm paying more attention to like the seams where like the camera has to slide away from him for a second to swap to the model where his hand's in his pocket because they can't actually animate him putting his hand in his pocket. That's a little too far. I think that the stuff that they do to, I don't know, just to make little tricks like that work is fascinating.
It's clever and fun, and when you spot it, when you start to notice it, it's really fun to look for, I think.
And it's fun seeing the way that like, because this series is so frugal with its models and stuff, and seeing the way that they start splurging a little more. Like there's points in later games where they'll like show a flashback to someone's younger self for like 2 seconds, and I'll be like, you made a whole model for that? That's crazy.
Insane.
That would have been a cutting room floor 3 games ago. Anyway, reeling it back in. There's a dead guy in the alley.
There's a dead guy.
We gotta deal with that.
Oh no, there's police. Oh god.
The first cop to show up is real casual about it. He's like, hey, so this looks bad and you might want to get out of here because that guy shot him, right? Well, he's gone and you're gonna be hauled in next, buddy. He's got a vibe. We'll see him again later.
I'm curious about him. He does not show up again in this chapter, as I recall.
He doesn't show up again in the rest of Akiyama's part now, but we'll see him again. Akiyama does not take this advice because he's not quite that smart. So he does get hauled in for questioning. While he's asleep in the police station, we get the start of his backstory.
I want to make it very clear I didn't know this was a dream sequence because they don't make that very clear automatically, which I think is purposeful. It cuts to this dream sequence and I'm like, what the hell are you wearing? Why are we here? What's happening?
Yeah, it just cuts to him sleeping on the street.
I want to say this fucking hit me like a truck. This is insane. What an insane backstory this guy has.
It's so good.
I immediately went to, because you went to bed, and I immediately, texted you. I was like, I get it. I get why his company's called Sky Finance. This is insane. I was losing my mind.
So in 2005, when the first game happened, Akiyama was sleeping on the streets and gathered a whole bunch of the money that came raining down after the 10 billion yen went up in the explosion. And that was the start of his fortune.
When even by the time when they show the Millennium Tower exploding and him looking up at it, I was like, damn, that building needs to stop exploding. People need to stop bombing that tower, for Christ's sake.
It happened again.
Why? And then money started to rain out. I'm like, oh my god, it's 2005. That's his backstory.
Sky Finance.
Crazy, because the money came to him from the sky. I remember when I was finishing up Kiwami, and that scene happens in Kiwami. It was a friend of the show. It was our friend. Yeah. I was like, damn, that money's gonna change that money might change someone's life, or something like that. And I'm sitting here clueless. I don't think I even absorbed the comment fully.
There's a specific homeless guy in the ending cutscene of 1 that just the camera lingers on him for a second. It lingers on a lot of people. A lot of people said that they should have swapped that to Akiyama and Kiwami.
Honestly.
I think it would have been funny. It might have been a little much, but it would have been funny.
It would have been funny, I think. But there is something to be said about it being someone you've never met, some faceless guy in the crowd, becoming part of the story.
And it's a fun dynamic that that is what saved his life, and it was the worst AFK he's it's a fun little But so he wakes up from that dream, and Sugiyuchi, whose name I'm gonna get right, he's just this asshole cop, but he has to let him go because Hana came running down saying to be a witness. God bless her.
Love her. I love her so much.
I've made a note that this scene is the second time somebody calls Akiyama pretty in 2 chapters. Anyway,
it will continue to happen. Because I pointed it out every time.
There's a third one in this chapter.
Every time. And I'm like, they're right.
There's at least 3.
They're right. I understand they're correct. He is a pretty boy. But my god, they make sure it's canonical.
And also, while Akiyama was asleep, Kanamura turned up dead.
Wow, that was quick.
Yeah, things have gone to hell quickly. None of Akiyama's business, so we've got a job.
By god, Hana will make sure we do it.
Yeah, I think we owe her one. I think he's due for pretending to do his job for 5 minutes. But he's got a client at the office who is real reluctant to tell him what she wants. This is a long cutscene.
It is. I was like,
she finally.
I was had my face on my fist and just sitting here girl, do you want to talk a little bit? Do you even want to be here?
Well, she's probably got good reason to be a little shaken, we find out later.
Yeah, but I assume so. Oh, it's pretty obvious from the get-go that something has happened.
But she needs 100 million yen, and she needs it no strings attached, nothing to offer in return. And Akiyama agrees, but his terms for lending are there's no interest, there's no deadline, but you have to pass his riddles 3. He says that his tests are proportional to the terms, so he will need a real big test for her, and tells her to come back tomorrow. This is the first time we're kind of freed. So we get our hideout, which I mention only because the hideout menu shows that he has a little couch with a pillow and blanket in the closet, and also one of the air freshener things for cigarettes.
Yeah, when you pointed that out, I went back to go and see it, and I'm like, why do you live like this?
You need to change your lifestyle somewhat, or you are going to pass away. as we're let loose in Kamurocho, there's no new city in this one. All 4 of our guys are going to be in Kamurocho, but in exchange, we get new rooftop and underground additions to Kamurocho that flesh it out a little bit, which are fun.
Dig.
I think they're cute.
I really like the expansion on Kamurocho, and especially the rooftop. Rooftop map is really fun, really cool. I love getting
the rooftops are really cool.
I love getting that angle of Kamurocho, especially after I've been hanging out in the city for so long. It's getting a whole new view of it is really cool.
Well, and especially like for people who have lived there their whole lives. Because, like, you go to the rooftops, there's no one up there. Like, that's your, I don't want to deal with the crowds and with being attacked thing. Makes perfect sense for someone who is running back and forth between these places all the time. Mm-hmm. It's cute. But I started doing a couple of his sub-stories here. My favorite bit of Akiyama's sub-stories is that he always has a fucking guy to call.
Yeah.
He just has everyone in the city on speed dial, and they all owe him something. A lot of his sub-stories are clients coming for loans. And it'll be like, oh, I need this guy to prove that he can be a good businessman. I know a guy with a failing business down the street, and I know the ins and outs of why his business is failing and exactly how this is gonna go. Or like, he's just always fucking got somebody.
I didn't do any sub-stories until I did do most of my sub-stories until chapter 4, which was a mistake. Because I couldn't finish one that I had started, because poor Hana-chan was unavailable.
I think I got caught on the same one, and that was my one that I had to finish in the post-game the first time I played, and I was real pissed about it.
But otherwise, I did a lot. I did finish quite a few, and especially the Shiobara one, which is the one you're referencing there. I'd finished his entire line, and it was interesting. Yeah. It's fine. It was one of the best examples of Akiyama doing his job and what his job entails. And
because we have limited time with the new protagonists, they shuttle a lot of their, like, here's what their daily life is like into the sub-stories, which I think is a clever way of doing it, so that it's not breaking up the actual plot going on. We go meet up with Kido, and they talk for a bit about trying to figure out what's going on before some Shibata family show up. And the Shibata family, if I'm keeping my shit straight, which I think I am, the Shibata family are one tier up from the I've lost it again. Thank you. From the Kanamura family.
I'm trying.
I appreciate it. So they come to kind of give them shit for starting shit with the Oenesewa. And also Sugiyuchi is shortly behind them because he wants to drag us back to the police station again. Can't leave us alone for 30 seconds. And when we fight the Shibata family, one of the leaders is like, well, we sent some of your best men to Sky Finance because you left it unguarded, you fool. And Akiyama's like, you sent your best men to Sky Finance? And he's like, yeah. It's like, oh, well, that's the one less thing for me to worry about, I guess. Cool.
Unfortunate for you.
Well, you took out the hardest part for me. Thank you.
Sucks.
We get back to Sky Finance, and Hana is just like shoving them off the stairs. Just taking care of business.
I want to know what part of her backstory incorporated her learning how to beat ass the way that she does.
Honestly, I can imagine that it had to be being a woman who lives in Kamurocho.
Yeah.
Just requires
that. And because there are several women I have seen in like 3 and 2 where they have, because you'll be Kiryu and you'll accidentally like punch a dude into them, and then they have to take over. I'm like, this is just what living in Kamurocho does to a person. Got it.
Yeah. I love, Kido makes a comment about, like, Sugiyuchi seems kind of, like, obsessed with you and Arai. And Akiyama's like, I don't know what you're talking about. And then you go back to Sky Finance and Sugiyuchi is sitting there waiting for you. Really beautiful comedic timing.
It's like a fucking sitcom.
So he is leaving a bunch of cops outside to protect Akiyama because the Oenesewa are making moves. So we cut to Tojo headquarters, and how are things going in Tojo headquarters?
It's never good.
There is never a cutscene in Tojo HQ that's going well.
But Daigo is here.
Daigo's here.
I missed him, my boy.
And I always love to see my boy. So since the guy who was killed was Uenosewa, Daigo's trying to pay them off to keep the peace, including Shibata cutting off his pinky. But their captain, Katsuragi, is like, wow, you killed one of our lieutenants, so this is not quite enough to make this even. So your options are bring me Arai, dead or alive, Or we take out one of your high-ranking men. Out of generosity, we won't kill Majima. We'll just take Kamurocho Hills. Because he's not an unreasonable man.
Come on. This is the one thing this man wants to do is build. He just wants to build.
He wants to do his build.
He just wants to do his funny little construction project. Can we just leave him alone?
It's also, like, the only thing the Tojo has going for them.
Oh,
like,
yeah.
they're still fucking broke. Majima's the only captain left. Everyone else is dead.
Dear God.
They have this one money-making project left. So things are going good.
It's dire as usual. Anyway.
It's dire as usual, but that's none of our business because we're not Yakuza right now. So, who cares? What's more important right now is there's a hot woman who needs money. So, she shows up for her test, and her test is that she is going to join the team at the Hostess Club. Akiyama, I wish he owned a host club.
God, wouldn't that...
I entered a parallel universe for a second.
You poked your
It was a lot more fun for me.
You poked your head in, and it was really good and really entertaining, and then you got kicked out.
And then I got pulled back. She's going to join the team at Akiyama's Hostess Club that he owns, and if she can become the #1 hostess in 3 days, she will pass, and she'll get the money. And there's definitely no ulterior motives for bringing her around and putting her in a hot dress. Nothing.
No.
Nope. Anyway.
I think this is the one thing with Akiyama that bothers me, that just kind of doesn't feel like doesn't seem to sit right with me, while where everything else
it's a little skeevy. Yeah.
It's the one thing is where a lot of, especially they show it off in some of his sub stories too, some of his tests, any of the tests that he makes women go through, always kind of involves pushing them towards the sex work. And I get it, like, it's not always necessarily they're doing the sex work. Sometimes they're just cleaning toilets or doing janitorial work or whatever.
Yeah.
Still, it feels like...
Yeah, it feels like a reflection of the way this series in general is like, that's the only suffering a woman can go through that's interesting.
Yeah.
Like, it's iffy. It's not great.
It doesn't sit right with the rest of... Because everything else...
No.
That he does makes sense to me in my mind, and everything, all of his tests.
Yeah,
I understand what he's doing, and but that, because he did it to like a single mom who was like running away from like a drunk husband who was beating her, and it's like, well, did you try the red light district?
Yeah,
and it's like
the only thing that 90% of the women in this game, in these series in general, are hostesses or massage people or whatever. And so it does just feel like anytime there's a woman suffering in this game, the root of the suffering is gonna be that she has to turn to sex work, where like,
and I do want to make
men turn to violence.
I do want to make it clear, I don't have problems with sex work in general. The problem is that it's seen as this thing that women have to do. It's
portrayed as this horrible, degrading thing, and that like,
that's the bothersome part.
If you were noble and you wanted to survive, you would accept this indignity or whatever. Like, yeah, no, it's part of a larger problem the series has in general, but it definitely manifests itself a little more strongly.
Yeah, it was
Akiyama's shit.
Very noticeable in many of the sub stories, and especially with this part of the story in general.
They try to spin it like, oh, she's agreeing to it, she's into it, but like, he has her life in his hands.
Yeah.
So let's not fuck around.
There was the scene where they kiss, and I was like, what? That it came out of fucking nowhere. For me, it was like a rock that was thrown in through my window, and the friend who I was like streaming it to and was watching me play was like, hey, remember how I said that the Yakuza series is very bad at writing romances? I'm like, no, not again.
Yeah.
And here I am.
I'm trying to think if there's a single romance in the series that I actually like. Anyway,
Anyway, Akiyama and Lily.
this is further digging his grave, but I think it's funny that in the main plot line, when he's setting her up in the hostess club, he's like, all right, well, I'm going to be your first customer. Like, doesn't a guy have the right to unwind in his own club? But when you're actually doing, like, the hostess minigame, all of the other guys have a guy at each club, and Akiyama won't go to Elise because it's his club. So no, you do not have the right to unwind at your own club. Get out of there.
Get
Dragging him out by his ear.
Getting the long crook and pulling him out.
Afterwards, they go on another little date or whatever.
Whatever.
At some point after all that, we go back to Sky Finance, and Akiyama gives Kido a stack of cash and is like, all right, use this to get whatever you need to find Arai before the police do. And Kito's like, I need to know why you care so much. Like, I need a backstory dump now. Thank you.
Give me the lore dump immediately with cutscenes.
So we finally get it. He used to work at a bank and had a dork-ass haircut.
Dork-ass haircut, clean-shaven, and it does not look like him in the fiction.
Bad. He looks horrendous.
This was a glow up. Sadly enough.
Sometimes you gotta hit rock bottom to build yourself back up. They framed him for embezzlement, and in his attempts to defend himself, he blew all of his money, ended up on the streets until, of course, the explosion. He gathered a bunch of money. He got like $1 million, and then everything else came from investing and trading that initial $1 million. And Arai at one point,
while he only still had the $1 million and he was still homeless and figuring himself out, the homeless hunters got to him.
And Arai defended him. So that was the origin of that relationship and why he's so indebted. And he also talks about starting Sky Finance, and like legitimately his only motivation and the reason he never like goes that hard on collections is because he's just genuinely trying to help people.
It's really good.
No, I don't have anything snarky to say.
No.
It's just as genuinely like, I test people because I want to know that they have a dream and that they're going to follow through on that dream. And if they are, then I want to help.
That's the reason why like everything else with some of his stuff bothers me, is because that's such a genuinely well written and well put together like motivation and character build, that the other stuff feels weird. But like you said, it's just... I
think that's the thing, because like some of the point of the showing the tests is to be like, he's not a fucking saint. Like sometimes the test is, you're not going to be able to pass this, go fuck yourself, and that's the point of it, because he just doesn't like someone. And that's interesting. That's an interesting facet. But yeah, it gets muddled in the fact that for women, it's go and dignify yourself in this specific way every time. But yeah, so after we go and do our last round of this stupid hostess minigame, which I haven't mentioned yet, but they took the worst minigame from 3 and made it story mandatory in 4 because they're fucking insane.
It's not Diner Dash, and I want Diner Dash again. It's not
Diner Dash. No, yeah. This is the pre-zero version of Hostess Club management. That sucks.
That sucks.
Where you train them and you dress them up and then you walk around the room and listen to people talk about what they like or don't like so that you can then realign and do it again. I did this whole plot line in 3 and it was not worth it. It was not good. Didn't do it in 4. I'm not doing it again.
I have no interest in doing
Bad minigame.
They made me do it for the story, and I was like, well, I'm not touching this ever again. I'm never going anywhere near Elise until the story makes me go near Elise.
It's so funny that they made it mandatory. And they made it in the story mandatory bit of it, you don't even have access to, like, it's already a limited gameplay minigame, and they limit the gameplay even more because you don't have any other clothes to put on her. You don't have any, so it's like, you're making it worse. You are not selling.
Anyway.
So he has a collections job to do in the Champion District, which we do not end up actually doing, because why would we do our job?
Why would we do our job? There's other things to do.
He gets distracted so Lily had a lighter with the name of a club on it, and she said that she used to work there, and Akiyama runs into it, and it's a Okama bar. So he's like, okay. So he makes some presumptions.
Yeah, this is presumptuous of him to say, but
we'll play along.
Sure.
There's also a few days old body inside, which is more concerning.
Yeah, that, once again, upsetting looking body.
Yeah, it's not good. It's something with the uncanny valley of this generation is just like, ugh. While we're out Sky Finance gets attacked again by more names. Midorikawa from the Hatsushiba clan. I don't remember if they come up again, but I've got their names down.
Awesome.
By God.
I did not absorb that name at all.
They took Kido and the client registry, Akiyama's clients, and so we chase them underground, which is our first peek into the underground passages that we get that are under
the Millennium
Kimbrough Theater.
Yeah.
In the Millennium Tower, yeah. I have trauma surrounding these tunnels because they're heavily featured in Dead Souls, so I've been down there way too much and I was having a bad time the whole time.
I was fine. I had a good time. I was like, ooh, tunnels.
I'm gonna try to move past it. But so these guys are working under the Shibata family orders because they're looking for Lily. I'm sure it's nothing.
Why would Shibata be looking for Lily? That's interesting. Anyway.
At some point, I don't remember when exactly this conversation is, but at some point, Kido talks about how Kanamura was found, like, half-naked, lipstick on his
it was
throat or whatever.
It was a little bit after the body was found.
But yeah, so there's been a pattern. People turning up. There's a serial killer on the loose. Also, the conversation he has with Kido where he's like, you've never heard of a femme fatale.
Yeah. I was like,
I hate him.
Okay.
I hate him so bad.
All right, femme fatale definition, thanks.
So after the last round of Lily's hostess job, we meet her to give her the money, and Akiyama kind of jumps over putting the puzzle pieces together and just asks her why she killed all those people.
Because surely you don't work at an Okama bar.
Surely.
Very presumptuous, but okay. Anyway.
You don't know her life. But yeah, he's like, you don't have to pay me back if you just answer this question. And she's like, that's cool. I'll pay you back.
Even if it takes the rest of my life, you'll get your money back.
I will dedicate the rest of my life to not telling you the answer to this question. Goodbye. Giving this money to Lily is Hana's last straw. She's like, she blows up a little bit.
Understandably
particularly
so.
About the fact that Lily looks a lot like Akiyama's ex-girlfriend. He's like, well, sure, that's why I wanted to talk to her to start with, but then it became real, and it's like, okay, buddy.
Mm-hmm.
Sure. Whatever you say.
Stop being weird about your ex.
But yeah, so she bails. She's out of here. So we go back to Elise, because what the fuck else is there to do?
I believe it's because you got a call from the manager. It's like, hey, there's some fucking guys in here, and they're just...
There's some fucking guys in here.
And they really want to see Lily for some reason, but I don't really want to break the news to them. Can you get over here?
So we get introduced to Minami, who is much more what we would expect one of Majima's boys to be like than Nishida.
There were so many lines where he would say something like, "Oh, of course you're one of Majima's guys. Everything's coming together with you."
I'll tell you right now, we don't see a ton of Minami. He's just kind of a background character.
I like him though.
But in my mind palace, him and Nishida are dating because I think it's funny.
Aww.
There's no basis for this. They never talk. I just think it would be funny.
No, it would be funny. And also just there's so much fun potential there. Just with how much Nishida fucking hangs out with and has been dealing with Majima's shit for the last goddamn how many years. And he's
sick of being at work with my terrible boss. Can't wait to go home and hang out with my boyfriend who's exactly like my terrible boss.
Exactly. He developed a weird thing and it's like, all right, well, I'm into it. I love this AU. This is copy pasting it into my brain.
So they're looking for Lily. When Majima shows up, he says that he is out to protect her. Her real name's Yasuko. And he has to protect Yasuko because he has a debt to atone for from 25 years ago.
I have been wanting this backstory since Zero, so this is exciting for me.
It's exciting. I think it's interesting I won't get too far into this because obviously we'll be talking about it a lot next time. It's interesting that in this bit he just says, I have something to atone for, where Zero and also Kiwami 1 in the Majima Everywhere stuff are both like, my brother's gonna come back from jail and kill me.
Yeah.
And I need him to kill me. Where this is like, I just fucked up like a little bit.
The gravity of it is not being conveyed as much as they were putting it.
So we're gonna go meet Saejima. I like Saejima.
His name is Taiga Saejima because he has a tiger on his back. That's fun.
Because he has a tiger.
I'm very excited to meet him. But boy, does he look bad with his hair.
Yeah.
We'll
Yeah.
get into it next time. Okay, well, I'll see you then.
See you then.
We've done it.
We got a new boy.
New boy.
We got another new boy. They're rolling out boys from the Boy Factory.
It's a big year for the Boy Factory. To 2010.
It's a big year for the 2010. Huge year for boys. 1985, also a huge year for boys, because that's where we start.
Yeah.
Open on a flashback to Saejima, Yasuko, and Majima. This seems a little heartbreaking just in concept. Like, oh, none of these people will ever have this again. No one has had this, like, domestic of a situation.
Also, Majima walking in with both of his eyes.
Immediately.
Fucked up.
Like, shit.
We're just like, put that thing away.
Put that thing away. Close one of those. I don't want to see it. We also immediately get a shot of Saejima's tattoo, which is a tiger.
It's a tiger. Because his name is Tiger.
Because he's tiger.
He's a tiger. I love him. I love his tattoos. Cute.
I like it a lot. I also like that it's the same tattoo as Shimano, so both of Majima's biggest influences are tigers. Much to think about.
Surrounded by cats.
Anyway, this is also Majima's, speaking of Shimano.
Oh yeah.
Majima being like, you hear about global warming, Shimano's always talking about it.
You won't shut up about it.
Incredible character detail to drop about Shimano. What a king.
I'm environmentally conscious, guys. Also, probably some of the most insane characters in the series so far. Love that.
Yeah, it's a beautiful Venn diagram. They're prepping for the big hit where they are going to... So this was a joint operation between the Sasai family, which is Saejima's family, and the Dojima, which Majima was under the Dojima at this point. Yes, because Shimano's under the Dojima. Look at me. I know the tree. I've got it. It's all up here. Anyway.
You're getting it.
They were going to go attack the Oena Seiwa because their patriarch just got out of prison, so kill him and whatever men he's with. And they assigned 2 fresh-faced 20-year-olds to do it, which is a choice.
You know, you can't get good help around here, apparently. I don't know what...
There's no one else. The very casual way they talk about, like, possibly never coming home again, it fucks me up a little bit.
It's a fucked up, just... life that they lead with you will see men in their 20s like, anyway, I might die.
Yeah, it really puts Zero Majima in context.
Yeah. All throughout this playthrough with Saejima, I'm like, I'm gonna play Zero again after 5 and it's gonna fuck me up. It sure is. Fuck me up.
Because it fucked me up.
Exciting.
But yeah, so they were told no more than 10 men on the day of. Majima doesn't show up for reasons we don't know yet, and there are 18 men.
That's a lot more men.
Simple mistake.
Big day for the men factory.
Big day. Huge day for the men factory. I've been saying this. Saejima fucking mows them all down in a harrowing cutscene.
It's the controller vibrates with each gunshot, by the way, on that. I'm like, God, let me just put this off to the side. I don't want to hold it anymore.
I couldn't remember if it was 18 or 19, and it says it immediately in the next cutscene, so I did not need to know. But I was like, I'll just count. And then the camera immediately starts cutting wildly in every direction, and I was like, never mind.
And
I have no idea.
He's like popping them twice, too, so it's like... You can't.
One of the men he pops looks awfully familiar, and that's a guy who's alive, so that's interesting.
Cool.
Tuck that away for later.
That was Forehead, right? I forgot what his name was.
Katsuragi, yeah,
okay.
Who is the captain of the Ueno Seiwa currently. The one who was dealing with Daigo.
Yeah, I just remember him as Forehead because he has a very large forehead.
He does have a very large forehead. He has very soulful eyes.
Yeah, weirdly enough.
Something about the way he looks at people really throws me off every time. Saejima, like a good little Yakuza, refuses to say anything about why he did it, so they can't connect it to the Tojo. The only person they can pin it all on is him. And he gets the death penalty at age 20.
Fucked up.
25 years later, because the death penalty is a slow fucking process. still in prison, gets transferred to a new location in Okinawa. This fucking, like, island prison. Seems like a good place for it. Even before we find out it's, like, a fake prison where they go to get rid of people. It's immediately
that you all told me that it's, like, based off Alcatraz or whatever. And I'm like, yeah, because when we were getting in there, I'm like, Japanese prisons are not like this. I read articles and watch documentaries. Like, this is not how their prison system looks or functions. What am I looking at?
The fact that they were like, we need a fucked up, evil, terrible prison. And what do America's prisons look like?
And they use the historical one from 100 years ago.
As we're rolling in, we see another old familiar face. Hamazaki's here.
Hey, I know that guy.
We love to see an old friend.
An old friend that stabbed us at the end of our last little adventure.
Wow, he didn't stab us. We're not Kiryu.
No, this is true.
So it's none of our business. Our tutorial parallels the tutorial of 1, which is kind of fun. That, Saejima has enough of a reputation that people are picking fights with him. As punishment for that fight, Saito, one of the guards, beats the holy fuck out of him, which is something he does a lot, apparently, and has killed a few prisoners. Very cool. Cool vibes. Cool.
That.
Love it. Love to see it. Which is when Hamazaki gets a moment alone with him to tell him that, like, yeah, this is not a prison that exists officially. It's used to make people go away. But on the flip side, most of the guards are super corrupt, so you can sometimes bribe them into getting things that you wouldn't be able to get at a normal prison. So it's pros and cons, you know.
Mostly cons, but, you take the pros.
Wow. There's a whole lot of cons. They're the convicts. Anyway.
Okay.
That was not a good joke.
No,
anyway.
Okay. You have to stick with it. You have to stand behind your choices.
In continued bad news, Hamazaki tells Saejima that Sasai took the blame for the hit and just, like, vanished. His family's gone. Nothing left. Majima, on the other hand, is sitting pretty, doing really well. That's kind of fucked up.
He's got his own family and everything.
It's kind of fucked up of him.
Left you in there to rot.
Damn. Seems like he doesn't care about you. Yikes. It's interesting that, like, because Majima has said if we go chronologically, like before Kiwami and before Zero, Majima has said one line about Saejima so far, so he very well could have been a traitor, but, like, with the context of Zero and Kiwami, it's like, okay, well.
Which has made
I have this feeling
highly anticipated for me.
Oh, yeah. They really milk it. So we do a whole bunch of shenanigans talking to people to round up parts to get a grappling hook. Hamazaki has an escape plan, and brother, we're coming with.
We're busting out of here.
No one's ever escaped before? That sounds like a challenge to me. Let's go. But yeah, I don't have anything interesting to say about the stuff that happens in the prison.
There's absolutely nothing. You talk to a bunch of people for a chain and a gardening hoe to make a grappling hook. It's fucking nothing happens other than that. I don't think anything gets interesting until it is actually time to bust out of there.
Big ol' escape sequence. We fight Saito like 3 separate times.
Fuck this guy.
Fuck that guy.
Fuck
There
this
is no
guy.
meme. Die. You didn't struggle with this as much as I did the first time, and I'm grateful for that, because this was the first time I, like, got so mad I had to set the controller down and leave. I
had it on easy, but I don't know. I don't know. I just was going into the upgrade abilities every 2 minutes.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, I don't know what my deal was, but I had such a terrible time. I was fine this time because I'm on New Game Plus again because I love cheating. But yeah, I don't know. Anyway, along the way, Hamazaki goes for a redemption arc. Gutsy move. Good for him.
It was such a last minute and jarring redemption arc too.
It's really like Saejima has the same disease as Kiryu, where he will meet someone and just be like, sure, I'll die for you. So Hamazaki doesn't do a ton of work for it. It's mostly Saejima being like, we're brothers now. We are ride or die. I'll let you leave before me. Like, what? Okay.
Okay. I mean, granted, he doesn't have the context we do, but damn. All right.
But Hamazaki, to give him credit, comes back for him. Lets Saejima go down first and gets shot tells him to find a guy named Kiryu, because he'll help.
Look for a Kazuma Kiryu, because
Look for a Kazuma Kiryu.
A good guy. What you're looking for is the most soulful big brown beamers you've ever seen in your life. And then you'll know you've got your guy.
Easy. Yeah, Saejima finds him fucking easy. We wash up on his doorstep. Done. Quest complete.
Fucking speedrunning that shit.
Kiryu isn't home when he's washed up. So unfortunately, Haruka finds him. And we get the worst scene in the series, which we have to talk about.
Choosing to live my life as if that scene didn't happen and does not exist. Because like you said, it fucks up and destroys 3 characterizations all in one fell swoop. And it is also incredibly uncomfortable. I saw nothing. It didn't happen. It's deleted from the game and also from my mind.
I know what they were trying to do, but the fact that I know what they were trying to do makes it worse because you could have done it any other way.
Literally any other way. A magazine laying around. Something
magazine,
on the TV.
Or, like, any other thing that you would miss and, like... Because they use it for this, like, moment of connection of, like, I recognize that you are a person who has been in prison and have been deprived in, like, a similar way to me. But we don't, like, when was Kiryu ever like, man, I really missed women?
Right.
Like, it could have been food. It could have been fucking sunlight. It could have been anything that would be more of a, like, genuine connection between them instead of being
women.
This fucking thing.
Because there's nothing in the past games has like been like, oh, Kiryu totally missed. Maybe the Sayama thing, but not really.
Yeah, not really. Yeah, like,
I'm trying to think like a guy in the writer's room, but like it's not working. It's not connecting for me.
Yeah, it feels like a plot beat you'd get in a fucking like GTA game.
Right. They were trying. Maybe they were just trying. I don't know, but no.
Anyway,
it did not happen. I refuse to acknowledge
the fucking game
existence.
acts like it didn't happen afterwards, so we might as well just pretend it didn't happen.
Exactly.
Moving swiftly on. I do like how Kiryu, because he guesses that Saejima was in prison and whatever, he like tries to pull this like mentor role of like, listen, I get it, I know what you've been through, and here's what we can try to do to get you in less trouble, and and Saejima's immediately like, you have no fucking clue what I've been through. Like, you are a baby.
You had 10 years. Try 25, and also on death row.
Yeah, because Kiryu's like, oh, if you turn yourself in, you won't get in as much trouble. And Saejima's like, if I turn myself in, they'll fucking kill me. But thanks. I do like that. I think that's fun.
Mm-hmm. This whole conversation, other than that part, is really cool. This whole interaction between these guys is...
Being outside of Kiryu is really interesting.
It's so cool.
Yeah. Saejima insists that he needs to get back to Kamurocho because all he wants to do is find out what happened, and it doesn't, like, he does not see a future for himself. It's just, I need to get answers on what happened, and then whatever, they can haul me back in and kill me, I don't care. So they fight about it, because they're both men who can't communicate in any other way.
I loved the lead up to the fight, because you kind of see it coming as the conversation furthers on, and then they start to do that circling thing that cats do. And then I'm like, oh, do I get to fight Kiryu? Do I actually get to fight Kiryu as someone else? Oh my god. And you can't even be mad when he kicks your ass, because you did that. That was your fault. You did that to him and then also to yourself. So, good job.
It's really good.
That was actually such a cleverly done.
I love how part of the reason you can see the fight coming is because they are like such similar people in the way that like when they can't get through to someone, they're like, this is the way. Well, here's what we're gonna do. The parallels between the two of them are fun. I think they're fun.
Yeah.
Incredibly difficult fight.
Incredibly difficult.
But
Haruka drops the tiger. It's fucked up.
He does. He drops that fucking tiger, and Haruka comes to break it up.
Poor thing gets pushed in the debacle.
Yeah, you don't quite win because we can't have Kiryu lose, but you put up a good fight. It's a draw at least. But as Saejima is passing out afterwards, he mentions Hamazaki. So Haruka immediately decides she doesn't trust him, which is fair.
Fair.
I mean, like...
She's a kid and she saw that man stab her dad in the gut.
Yeah. I like that, like, Haruka has...
And she doesn't have exactly the same experiences that Kiryu does with, like, people redeeming themselves, and she's been through different, perspective of these things.
I like a lot that she starts out fully, like, on Kiryu's side, like, yeah, we will take in this stranger, we'll do whatever, I'm happy to help him, sure. And then the second she hears Hamazaki, because Hamazaki's a person that hurt Kiryu, and she's immediately like, no, never mind.
Absolutely not.
Fuck this, actually. Like, that's her hard limit. Kiryu tries to be like, hey, listen, people can change, and, like, you don't know for sure. And, like, we're all Yakuza, so we're all kind of bad people. So, like...
just give him a break. I forgot what exactly his reasoning and what made her kind of turn around on that eventually was, but...
I don't remember for sure.
She does as she told. She watches over him while he's napping.
Yeah, so Kiryu's like, I'm gonna go shopping. Promise I believe, fully 100% believe that he won't hurt you. Give him this bag when he wakes up, which has some money and clothes for him to fuck off to Kamurocho with, including a necklace, because I guess Kiryu knows the importance of accessorizing.
It's so hilarious after the fashion show that you have to do with the kid in 3.
Yeah.
He learned quite a bit since then, it seems.
Yeah, he's doing his best.
And it's a sick outfit, and he apparently has it for the rest of the games, so I love this.
Yeah, he keeps that jacket forever. So Saejima heads out back to Kamurocho and goes looking for the Sasai family, or whatever's left of it. He has little comments when he goes into, like, a lot of places for the first time that are really cute. I mean, cute and also sad.
I didn't see what he said when he went into Conrai, but I remember going into a convenience store. He's like, wow, Kamurocho has so many more convenience stores than I remember.
Yeah, I know, like, when he walked into the pawn shop, he said something about, like, oh, this is a little more familiar. Mm-hmm. But yeah, similar to Kiryu having to reacquaint himself at the beginning of 1.
Mm-hmm. But it's even more jarring with Saejima, because it's 25 years.
Oh, yeah. He, in the process of looking for the Sasai family, he runs into Kido, who is currently beating up some Shibata men. So Saejima decides he's an ally. He's like, yeah, sure.
Sure.
As long as you don't like them, you're my best friend now.
Kido, mine, at the same time, is like, no, I don't want to be a character. I don't want to be a main character. Get me out of here.
Kido's like, I was already in one part. I'm not supposed to be back. I gotta go.
I have my own problems, thanks.
This is unrelated to anything except for Kido, but I kind of thought, in my mind, his name being Kido, when he's, like, the token, like, newbie Yakuza guy, was kind of a coincidence until I realized he was in the same room as Taiga.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh no, they just named him Kiddo on purpose.
His name is just Kiddo.
His name's just Kiddo. Okay, anyway.
Kiddo and Taiga.
I was fully giving them the benefit of a doubt until, like,
you need to not do that.
Time around, I was like, hang on.
There's no reason to do that. They don't need the benefit of the doubt. They're just silly people.
They don't need it. Eventually, Saejima catches up to Kido and tells him what he's looking for and who he is. And Kido says something like, oh, you're fucking 18-hit Saejima, you're a legend. And Saejima says there ain't nothing legendary about pointing a gun and pulling the trigger, which is our first little hint that maybe he's not very happy.
Yeah, maybe he's not.
How his life turned out.
Super proud of what he did.
But Kido is using the Hatsushiba office that we raided earlier as a base because they cleared the fuck out. Sends Saejima to find the florist, because if anyone knows what happened to the Sasai family, it's gonna be the florist. So we end up in Purgatory, and you already know what the florist wants in exchange for info.
Yep, it's a Yakuza tradition. Throw that man in the Coliseum. Tradition.
Get that man in the ring. But with a fun twist, because the florist is now doing death matches. So if you want that info, you're gonna have to kill that guy.
This is weird and new. He's never wanted this before. That's odd.
How strange. I really like this Saejima scene. I think it's very good.
I should not have experienced this at 4 a.m. because I wanted to die.
Yeah. Yeah, refuses and sort of breaks down in front of this crowd over just how constantly haunted he's been.
Killing a person, he's like, it's a nightmare. There's nothing exciting or honorable about that.
And just like, I see them every night. I think of their families every night. Hospital. But yeah, so he throws the sword down, refuses to kill the guy. Which is, of course, exactly what the florist wanted. It was a test.
Thanks. He's not doing death matches, you silly goose.
Goofball. I do like the... Did he advertise it as a death match just so he could invite all of these people and shame them?
I hope. I think that'd be funny. I think that'd be super funny. I do like, right before you go into the quote-unquote death match, you have 3 options of I'm ready, I'm broke, and I'm not ready. And I was like, what does I'm broke mean? And if you say he gives you, what was it, like 10,000 or 20,000 yen to go get yourself some stuff? I'm like, okay, free money.
Yeah,
thanks,
Flores. He's like, why don't you prep for this fight? And Sajima's like, I got no fucking money. And he's like, okay, well.
All right. Here you go. That was nice.
The florist knows where Sasai is, and he brings him in, and he is a shell of a man. Has been living on the streets, barely has his memory, barely knows who Saejima is.
He's
just like...
It's like experiencing your grandparents getting dementia. But like after 25 years of not seeing them, it sucks.
Yeah, just like 25 years of your life. All of that horror for a family that's gone, a man who can't remember you. Jesus Christ.
It's rough in here.
It's rough in here. That leaves just one mystery to solve. Whatever happened with Majima?
What the fuck is up with Majima? What the Mad Dog doing?
What the Mad Dog doing? So Saejima heads back and meets back up with Kido, but waiting in the office for him is Minami, who extends an invitation.
Yay, Minami again!
Yeah! Get a load of this guy.
He's so funny.
He's fun.
He's just a funny little guy.
But he extends an invitation on Majima's behalf to meet him at the Millennium Tower. And then Kido gives us the most insane instructions on how to get to the Millennium Tower without getting caught by the cops.
And I'm sitting like stressing, like, all right, I gotta remember this. This is how I do it. And the game's, you just look at the waypoints on the map. It's fine. You don't gotta.
Yeah. I do like how this uses the new routes that they've added. As like a different way to get around to get away from cops. Which is interesting because now that I think about it, like, Akiyama was using it like, oh, you've lived in this city forever, so you know all the routes, where I guess Saejima would need Kido to, like, draw him a map. Like, okay, there's gonna be stairs here, and then there's a sewer here.
It is cool, because you don't have access to, at least, like, some of the underground stuff, because Akiyama he's got noodle arms. He can't lift up the manhole.
Yeah, he can't lift up the sewers. He can't lift them. He's too little.
He's too little, man.
Oh, and before he leaves to go meet up with Majima, Kido asks him if he regrets what he did, in a way that kind of implies Kido is up to something that he thinks he might regret. And he says that he regrets the actual lives he took, but has no regrets about committing to the life he chose and being part of something bigger, which is certainly a way of looking at it. But who am I to blame a guy for needing something to hang on to?
You know, take your W's where you can find them. You do what you gotta do, but it's so fascinating to see how these characters talk about the literal crime syndicate that they're a part of. Yeah. And the way they see it. And look at it. Yeah. It's one of the most fascinating things in one of the quickest ways you can, like, get a feel for a character.
Oh, yeah, definitely. Like, the characters who are... Why you joined the Yakuza is a incredibly character-defining question.
Yeah.
So remember 2 games ago when I said I was done talking about Majima Everywhere Forever? I lied.
Do you have more to say about Majima Everywhere?
Not
dusting off the soapbox. Here you go.
Listen. This time it's in a good way. Because I don't know who exactly said this because I don't have the interview in front of me, which I should, but whatever. The creators have said that, like, in designing Saejima, part of the goal was for him to be someone who Kiryu would remind Majima of, and for that to be part of why Majima latched onto Kiryu in that way.
Yeah.
Which I think that this little, like, speech about how much he loves duty and honor kind of exemplifies that.
The way some of his sub-stories really give you that vibe, too. Because
definitely.
One of the most, like, there's like a big string of them, and it's just him helping out a kid to get his sister back. And it's like,
I didn't even think about that.
The most Kiryu-coded sub-story I've done so far in this game.
Incredibly similar people, which kind of reframes all of Majima everywhere, because, like, if Saijima's the brother who went to jail to fulfill his duty, and Majima's the brother who got left behind and had to give up a bunch of who he was and become this way more violent person to survive. Isn't this familiar?
Isn't this familiar?
All of his testing Kiryu and, like, trying to see whether his beliefs will stand up and whether he can still survive, kind of being a surrogate for what might happen to Saejima. Like, whatever he's looking for in Kiryu, he's clearly, like, looking for it in the wrong person, you know? Like, this is the closest person he could find to what he really wants.
Hospital.
His little comments about, like, well, you weren't really in jail for that long, and, like...
and just how steadfast Majima will stand behind Kiryu, too, also just getting a lot more clear in the last couple of games.
Yeah.
As to why.
Yeah, I think, it's juicy. Ooh, it's interesting.
Especially in 3, where he's like, please let me go back to Okinawa with you, please. I'll get all my boys and we'll do whatever we can to help. Because it feels like at that point, he does not want Kiryu to fail anymore. He cannot stand to watch that happen.
Yeah, that really is I don't want to lose this again. Huh.
Mm-hmm.
Huh.
Mm-hmm.
Man. Okay.
Oh, this game's starting to hurt real bad.
If I think too hard about Majima and Saejima, I go clinically insane. So anyway, let's talk about it a whole lot more.
Let's keep going.
So we head down to the Millennium Tower and have this basically fight the entire Majima family.
I love the way this was done. This was really fun.
Yeah, it's really cute. There's there's the wall of them, and every time
every wave you take one down, there's some more of them will just start to, like, sit down and be injured on the floor.
Yeah.
Until you eventually fight Minami, which was insane. I loved his fight. It was really fun.
He's very fun. He just starts, like, fire breathing partway through.
Halfway through, friend of the show's like, watch out for the fire. I'm like, watch out for the what? Oh, shit.
Minami's trying to jump back in the ring, and Majima comes down finally, like, all right, cool it. And just it really hams up this, like, he's very much trying to keep the idea going that he's just living it up and didn't care about Saejima.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like for this whole, like, he lines up all the men in the streets and walks them down to the batting center, like, you look at all of my power.
You love to see him use a bit twice, too, which is really funny.
Oh, yeah.
Because he did the shit, it's almost the same exact bit he did with Kiryu in 3, where he's got all his men lined up.
He's got a new guy.
He's making it so scary. He's like, look at how great I'm doing. Look at how awesome I'm doing without you hanging around.
Saejima being like, I am just here because I want to know what happened. Like, I need you to explain to me what happened. And Majima doesn't want to explain what happened because he's spent 25 years waiting for Saejima to come back and kill him. He's like, I'm crazy. Anyway,
of explanation will assuage my guilt on what happened.
Yeah, like, I don't want you to forgive me because that feels worse. I just want
I need you to die.
Be over.
I need you to kill me. I need to die by your hands.
Anyway,
they fight at the batting center
At the batting center.
I think this has solidified the fan theory that is canon to me now, that the only reason the batting center has survived through the years, because nobody fucking goes to the batting center anymore, is just because the Majima family is funding it quietly and just keeping it afloat. So that Saejima would have something familiar to come back home to.
Yeah, I believe him funding it explicitly so that he can do this final showdown. Also, dropping the note that when they joined the Yakuza as teenagers, they swore to each other that the punishment for betrayal would be death. Oh my god. Anyway.
Oh, teenagers. Oh my god. Teenage boys making that promise is so crazy.
And holding to it in their 40s. But yeah, so we have our fight, which is they love to do this bit where they give Saejima enemies who are super fast, and it makes me crazy.
It does. This fight kind of sucked, but it was funny. He does the spinny top move, which pissed me off a couple times, but
when they're both sort of on the floor recovering. Something about this scene is so, like, I don't know, intimate almost. Like, it's very quiet suddenly. They go from, like all of the posturing and yelling is gone. They're just kind of talking. They're
tired. They're two tired old farts. And they just need to talk it out.
And like
they want to hold to that promise from when they were younger, but they know they're older. They know that it's pointless to do that.
Yeah,
nothing's gonna come of that.
And just like so much of their relationship is so clear, and like they start out like teasing each other back and forth about like you used to be stronger and you used to whatever. Then like Majima trying to deflect into jokes and Saejima being like dead serious, intense all the time. It's like you can imagine every conversation they've ever had going like this.
Yep, because you see a lot of this with Majima and Kiryu's interactions too.
Yeah, absolutely.
And it's like, oh, I see. Oh, everything's becoming so clear.
Majima takes off his eye patch, which is the only time he shows anyone that.
I'm gonna be fully honest. I was hoping the camera would pan over to it. I kind of wanted to see, but
absolutely,
that's morbid curiosity. Sorry,
it does. No, same. It does make sense as a like. Well, this is for him, not for you.
Yeah,
but no, yeah, I am very curious. So after some prodding, he finally pries the truth out that Majima was kept from going, and that he thinks the hit was a setup by Shibata. The next cutscene is like technically after the part ends, but
we can go into it because it still has to do with Majima.
It's a Majima cutscene. It has nothing to do with Tanemura, so
let's stick that in here.
So on the day of the hit in 85, Shibata lured Majima out alone and kept him from getting to the hit. Shibata thought that Sasai was a traitor who was trying to start a war with this assassination, so he didn't want the Dojima family to get involved. Majima refused to abandon Saejima, of course, and was fully willing to die for him, of course. So Shibata's men chain him up and take out his eye.
The way it's panned out and what's implied is that he did fight off nearly a whole army of men. Only one guy was left, and they had to literally chain him up before he was able to they were able to control him.
Yeah.
It was a narrow thing. If they just had like one or two less men, he would have been able to get out of there, which is insane to think about. But the whole I would sooner go blind than betray my brother or something like that.
Yeah.
Oh, that's how he lost the eye. It's great. Zero's gonna fuck me up. Zero's gonna do something sinister to my mental
also,
after this.
The fact that Saejima guesses that he lost his eye for him specifically just because Majin was being kind of cagey about it. Okay, anyway.
He took one, much like Kiryu does nowadays with like some of the later games. Saejima took one look at Majima and was like, you are posturing, you're lying, and you're hiding something from me. It took one look, even after 25 years, just spending 5 minutes with him, to be like, of course you didn't abandon or forget about me. You're just being you. Are you okay? Do I need to stop talking? No.
I just like them a lot.
I like him a lot, too. I like them both so much. Oh.
We have to move on, or I'm just going to be crying in a recording.
It needs to be like the rest of the episode is just sobbing over Saejima and Majima.
Me getting increasingly higher pitched.
until only dogs can hear. Everybody's dogs at home being like, what the fuck is wrong with that person?
We have to cut it off because this is going to come up again, and I can't do this every time. Anyway, okay.
Is that where it ends?
Yeah, that's the end of it. Let's go see Tanamura.
Let's go hang out with Tanamura. We gotta take a break.
I don't remember anything about Tanamura.
I have never met this man, not even once in the fandom. I've never seen fan art. I've never seen fan art. I've never seen anyone talk about Tanamura. What the heck? I don't know this man.
Everybody say, man? I'm sorry, Tanamura.
I have nothing to be sorry about. I just met the guy.
Well, I'm sorry.
All right, well, let's go hang out with him. I'm going to go get to know him.
All right. And welcome back. We got a new boy again.
Working hard at the boy factory.
This boy is... I was gonna say the opposite of a criminal is a cop, but that's not true.
No.
That's not even a little bit true.
Not even a little. Especially this guy.
Anyway. Yeah, it's the cop we saw at the murder scene. He's our guy now.
Who could have seen this coming? Certainly not me, because I have never met him. I never met this man once in my life before.
Well, he's on the box art, so you could have seen it coming.
Well, I bought it on Steam.
There's a banner.
He is kind of on the banner, yeah.
He's on the He's kind of on the banner.
Nobody in the fandom talks about this man.
Yeah, Tanamura is not a super popular character.
Which is interesting, because I found his story all right. He was kind of cool.
He's interesting in concept, I feel like, and I feel like I think it's just limited screen time that makes him sort of forgettable. We have got that limited screen time now. By God, we're gonna make the most of it. It opens on Sugiuchi interrogating him about his conduct at the murder scene, and immediately the gist of it is that he's not a very good cop. Kind of dicks around on the clock. Are you on the clock if you're a cop? I guess you are.
Yeah.
On patrol.
Yeah.
And is known for gambling and for shaking down illegal businesses for hush money. I do really like this pattern where every protagonist in this game has like a reputation that's the most uncharitable reading of who they are. Akiyama's like a fucking rich asshole loan shark who manipulates people. Saijima's a killer.
Mass murderer,
hitman. Tanamura's the parasite of Kamurocho. Kiryu's got his own reputation. We'll get to him. But yeah, it's a fun little theme. Unfortunately for Tanamura's reputation, the first quest we're given is to go harass a civilian who reported him for gambling on duty.
How?
So that's not a good...
It is an interesting way to introduce a character, I'll be honest. Also, there's a route you can take with this quest that makes him even more scummy in a way that's funny.
Yeah, the bit he's asking some guys for information on who reported him for gambling. They ask in return for some silver plates that are mahjong prizes. But if you don't want to play mahjong, you can go buy fake ones and give it to them, and they're like, I guess that's fine.
I think it's funny.
I guess that's all I deserve.
You'll make it work, right?
It's a good bit. I don't want to play mahjong, so I do it every time. So I guess that's on me.
I'm still fascinated with Kamurocho's plate-based economy.
What is the deal with the plates?
I don't know.
I do. It's fascinating. I could have just paid you.
When I was playing like Zero and Kiwami, I was like, oh, they're because in the image, like the image and the inventory is like, are these like heirlooms that people are giving me to pawn off for money?
Yeah.
But now, like in this, they're like actually plates fully made of silver, gold, and bronze, and I'm fully confused now.
The funniest bit with the plates to me in Kiwami, when you are feeding the dog, you can use a paper plate or you can also use a gold plate. So like it's literally just a plate. Kiryu's like, yeah, put food on that. I don't understand. But anyway, so he tracks down the guy. He lets him off after a quick fight. So I guess
the guy that did report him is the try and hit me guy that has been challenging Kiryu for years.
Yeah.
And he's been so down on his luck because Kiryu keeps fucking him up every year. And that's why he reported him. It's a good bit. I like that bit.
It's a good bit. Take care of that. We get a call from Zhao, who is the owner of a Chinese restaurant in Little Asia. And so we get to go to Little Asia for the first time chronologically. It's interesting. Little Asia is not, now that I'm running through it in my head, not super connected to the actual plot. of Tanamura's bit.
Mm-hmm.
But, like, all of his sub-stories are very entrenched in the community.
He's obviously part of that community, very much in there.
Yeah.
Especially, I really like the way the camera, cutscene direction in this game is pretty awesome.
Yeah. There's some real good ones.
How, when he's, like, on his way to homeland, just the way they kind of track his movements and how he interacts with everyone around him. It shows off that this is where he is most comfortable. This is his home. And it's cool.
It's interesting that, like, I like that Little Asia being this sort of cramped, tight-knit, overlapping space is also fitting for it being a very tight-knit community. Like,
yeah.
Of course you know everybody because you're all on top of each other. But also, I think it's interesting that, like, so Tanamura is our first perspective of Little Asia, and he is very much, like, a part of the community, but also still, like, one step away from it just by the fact that he is a cop and presumably lives somewhere else. Like, he's very much part of, like, spends a lot of time there and, like, considers Zhao and his daughter family, but also, like, he still has a level of power over them in a way that's interesting. He uses it mostly for good, but still, you know.
Yeah.
But yeah, so all of his gambling wins and his shakedown money and all of that are getting funneled into a fund that him and Zhao use to help newcomers find a place in the city. Mm-hmm. Good for him. I didn't do a ton of his sub-story stuff this time around, so if you have interesting stuff at any point.
I did one string where you bust a sex trafficking ring, and you and it was something that it was in his dad's notebook. Through it, you meet a lot of different really cool people, like Saki-chan.
I do like her.
She was cool. But other than that, at the end, you discover that his biological father actually worked with his adoptive father. They investigated this ring together.
It's interesting that that's like sub-story detail.
It was weirdly, like, important to his story because you discover that he was born from a romance that his biological dad had with someone who was swept up in this sex ring and in the human trafficking ring. And it's like, oh, that's interesting. Weird. It's a sub-story, but okay.
Yeah. It does sort of, with regard to him being, like, part of Little Asia, but outside of it, I did forget until I looked it up to double check. I assumed he was just Japanese, but he is half Thai, so he is more connected in that way as well.
Yeah.
It is interesting to, like, it's weird that this is a sub-story, but it's also kind of cool on a...
Yeah.
Just the whole thematic string of the series as a whole. It kind of it fits in with that like the dead dad who he's trying to like chase down and avenge and whatever is his adopted father, but that's not an important part of it. It's still his dad. There's not
that's who matters to him.
But I had completely forgotten about that until you were doing it. And I was like watching out of the corner of my eye like, what's going on over there?
This is why I play ahead of you so that I can dick around with sub-stories.
It's important. It's good. But yeah, so speaking of his father, Tanamura's dad was investigating the Ueno Seiwa hit 25 years ago when he was murdered, and the last thing written in his notebook was that he was going to meet up with Yasuko. We head out to try to find her. One of the businesses that Tanamura kind of keeps an eye on because they employ a lot of easily exploited immigrants is this salon that she happens to show up at, so he gets a call from them.
I was a little confused. I thought she was skipping town like immediately after Akiyama.
It's so yeah, never. The first time I played, I was like, this must be a flashback or something. Why would she be going to the salon after taking the money from Akiyama? It's not. I don't know why she went to the salon after.
I don't know.
Women be shopping.
I don't think she went to the salon to go to the salon. She was working there, was she not? Or was she just going there? I'm not
sure. I thought she was just going there, but I guess I literally don't know.
I think she was working there.
This woman's actions are an enigma.
All right. Women be shopping.
Shibata's men show up and take her immediately, so that didn't go well.
Oh, cool.
So Tanamura follows them to the docks. It's subterfuge time. It's backstabbing time. It's me saying a lot of names time.
Hell yeah, I know what's happening perfectly. I understand the plot.
At the docks, Shibata has Arai. He's keeping him secret, keeping him safe. Shibata's been working with Katsuragi, and he pretended to cut off his finger as like this whole gambit so that Katsuragi could do his power move against Daigo. He tries to assault Yasuko, which is really cool.
Great. Really rub it in that he is a bad guy, if you weren't sure before.
Arai takes the opportunity to shoot him because he's also been working with Katsuragi, and they've decided to cut him out of the deal. Okay.
Swag.
Swag. Everybody on the same page? Cool. Great. Tanamura takes Yasuko back to Little Asia, and she finally confesses why she needed the money, which was that Katsuragi promised that he could save Saejima because he is one of Saejima's victims. I'm doing air quotes. You can't see that. Mm-hmm. But so if he testified, that would throw off the whole case and possibly be able to free Saejima. The deal he gave her was 100 million yen or kill these guys. And she was like, well, I don't have 100 million yen. So
guess it's time to murder.
Understandable. Who can blame her? Tanamura decides that he's going to use her as bait to lure Katsuragi in. And we get maybe the first bit of personality Yasuko has shown in the whole game. No offense to her, but holy shit. She spends a lot of this game either just like too shaken to function or
being stringed along from one event to the other.
But yeah, she calls him out like, I do not care about solving your mystery. Like, this guy is the one person who could save my brother, and I don't want you getting, like, I don't want you fucking this up for me. This was my deal. He ends up convincing her with some help from Zhao coming over to be like, hey, he's a really cool guy, and I think you guys have a lot in common. And I think you should give him a chance. She is planning on leaving town anyway because Saejima's execution is supposed to be in 2 days.
In Okinawa.
And even though she has not been permitted to visit him at any point during those 25 years, she at least wants to be close when it happens. Because she does not know that he's like 2 blocks north currently.
Yeah. Girl, go to the Millennium Tower.
Get your ass back to the Millennium Tower. She takes off, and Tanamura goes to meet up with Katsuragi. There's a whole runaround fucking to find the money and to call him and to start a meeting place. Yakuza shenanigans.
As the entirety of this game. Yakuza shenanigans.
The audacity of the game to, after you hunt down the car that she's stored the money in, have Tanamura go, man, I wish I asked her what car it was. I'll kill you. You think you're so funny. You think you're so funny.
Man, I wish I wasn't sent on a fetch quest with vague instructions.
Whatever. Eventually, we meet up with Katsuragi and get another big info dump. Katsuragi and Shibata set up the hit together with the intention of rising up in the ranks. So after Saejima shot everyone... Is this when they dropped the rubber bullets? Wait, am I jumping ahead?
I think you're jumping ahead.
I am jumping
rubber bullets
ahead.
Was like at the end. That was
You're right. I'm
Sugiuchi.
sorry. I've said the words. I've said the keywords. I take it all back. No, so there was also a police cover-up that helped them get away with it because the police swept the true perpetrator under the rug and pinned it on Saejima, which Katsuragi does admit that he was the true perpetrator. He killed everyone, but doesn't say how yet. Don't worry about it. Tanamura's father just got too close to finding out about that. He had to go. I really love, speaking of cutscene direction.
This was pretty good.
I love that, like, because when Tanamura first calls Katsuragi, he says, like, I want to meet in front of the Millennium Tower at this time, and Katsuragi makes a comment about, like, oh, that's smart, lots of foot traffic, can't get me alone, that's cool. And then when they meet up, he's like, no, we're not going to talk here, we're going to walk and talk, and Katsuragi's like, oh, that's smart, you're going to keep moving targets harder to hit, I get it, I'm with you. And so the whole time they're talking, there's, like, clearly people walking around behind them the whole time, and then suddenly there's just no one.
Everyone's
and Theater Square is empty.
Gone.
And it's spooky.
Spooky as hell. It's a good cutscene.
It's a good fucking cutscene. So the Uenasewa boys roll up, corner Tanamura, and who comes in to our rescue?
Sugiuchi.
It's Sugiuchi. Oh, he's on our side now? Interesting.
That's interesting. It was another one of those when Katsuragi, like, admits that he was the one, or he tells Tanamura he was the one who did the hit.
Uh-huh.
It was the way he, like, walks up to him, or he walks past him with the and just... it's another one of those I killed Mufasa things.
it's really good.
It
The
feels
drama
like
of it
that
all.
to me. It's very good.
Katsuragi also threatens Zhao and his daughter, whose name I apparently did not write down at any point.
Meihua, I believe.
Meihua, thank you. But yeah, so Sugiyuchi holds them off so that Tanomura can get away. And when we get back to Homeland, they're fine. The Ueno Seiwa never made it there.
And there's Hisai.
Hisai, who is... Tanomura calls him chief, but I think he's chief of community safety, not of Tokyo PD. So he's Tanomura's boss. And the two of them together decide to go to the scandal graveyard for information.
Great.
Because we still have a scandal graveyard. This still exists.
Awesome.
It doesn't have a ton of useful information, but it does say that Tanomura's father was working the case with Sugiyuchi. So there's a lead. Before he goes to find Sugiyuchi, Tanomura is like, I need to get rid of this fucking 100 million yen. I need to not have this immediately. So he tries to return it to Akiyama.
We get to go see our boy again.
We get to see our boy again. He's not super happy that his hot girlfriend has been replaced with this fucking guy.
This dude.
He's like, I could not give a rat's ass whether I get this money back. So I do not want to see it unless it's from her. My boy is down bad. Down unreal. Down atrocious.
Down horrendous.
While we're there, he has another phone call with Kido, I think, and gets a new lead that the other Ueno Seiwa guy who was at the club at the beginning is running around terrified and wants police protection, understandably. And we happen to know a police, so isn't
we
that...
We have a police guy.
So Tanomura sets a little... He's like, yeah, I'll go help him, but I'm gonna set a trap about it. Let's be clear. I'm not actually gonna help him.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was like, sure, dude, whatever. I could not care less. Get out of my office. But so he overheard Katsuragi, what's his name? Mishima, I found it. He overheard Katsuragi say that he was supposed to die in the plan as well, so he's been on the run for the past couple of days. Unfortunately for him, Sugiyuchi shows up and decides to finish that job for him.
Oh, that's weird. Why would he do that?
Tanomura is like, so you're the mole who was helping Katsuragi, right? Like, you have to be. And I do enjoy the trope of someone who's like been hiding a secret so long that they're just like wanting it because they want to be caught. I think that's a fun little bit.
Yeah. You
wear fancy shoes. You've got like your watch is way too expensive for a cop's salary. You showed up when I was meeting Katsuragi. Like, come the fuck on. You wanted me to catch you. I know you did. So before Tanomura showed up, he called organized crime. Yeah, he called Sugiyuchi's branch of the police, which was how Sugiyuchi knew that he was here. But it's also how Pseudo shows up in a cameo.
Pseudo! Hey!
Pseudo's here!
It's this guy again. He's back. He's back.
He's gotten a promotion. Good for him. I guess we knew about his promotion. We heard about it. Either way.
Mm-hmm.
They have him cornered. But Sugiyuchi's like, you have no authority to kill me, and I know you won't. And sure enough, Pseudo doesn't. Tanomura has no such qualm. Tanomura's like, I'll fucking do it, man, whatever.
I'll go shoot this guy, whatever.
I'm on it. So you chase him out and get this boat chase, which is this never happens again. This is such an anomaly of gameplay. It's so funny.
He hopped in the boat and I was like, you better not make me do it. Don't fucking make me. And they made me.
I did fine this time around, but I remember failing this like twice the first time.
I didn't fail. I
kept running into boats.
There's so much shit in the ocean that you run into.
There's so much shit in the ocean.
If you touch the stick even a little bit on your controller, you are going to curve and schmoove wildly.
And if you touch any obstacle, you are coming to a dead stop.
Yeah, it's not that fun. It's kind of funny, though.
Whose idea
was this? Also, very lucky that we just so happen to have two speedboats.
Yeah, who left their two speedboats with the keys in the ignition?
Whatever worked.
But yes, they chase them all around and end back up at like the exact same spot, because there's only one dock map in this game.
They did a big old circle lap around the ocean and then came back.
Sugiyuchi admits that he's the one who killed Tanomura's dad.
Ooh, could have seen this as the outcome.
So of course we have to throw down with him. I think the intro where Tanamura handcuffs them together, and so the first couple
quick time events
where
you have to like dodge
events
him.
where they're like smacking each other and like yanking each other around.
It's pretty good.
It's fun. This fight kind of kicked my ass.
I am a big fan of the Final Fantasy ass music that he has for his boss music.
There's some real like cinematic ass music playing.
This is something that I have heard in 14. It's some soaking ass music. It's awesome.
Yeah, it's really good.
But yet the fight itself wasn't too terrible for me. He schmooved. He schmooved quite a bit.
He was schmooving. I don't know why he was beating my ass so bad. I don't know what my deal was, but I was struggling. After the fight, he tells Tanamura that he has been Yakuza this whole time. Being a cop was a front. He's Kasaragi's oath brother. On the night of the hit, the day of the hit, I guess it was day. On the day of the hit, after Saejima shot everyone, his gun was loaded with rubber bullets. So Saejima didn't kill anyone. We'll unpack this in a minute. So after Saejima shot them with his fake little rubber bullets, Katsuragi went back around and actually killed them all except for the patriarch and obviously himself. Sugiyuchi shot Katsuragi to put him in the hospital for the sake of a cover-up, or for the sake of believability, I guess, and then wrote a false report on the incident, which he turned into Munakata. And I really love this bit where
it's really good.
He turns in this report and he's like, yep, Saejima did it. Here's all the information. Did I do a good job? And Munakata's like, okay, so there were 36 rubber bullets on the scene, and like all of these men had bruises and were not wearing bulletproof vests. So I guess my question is, do you think I'm fucking stupid? Do you think I was born yesterday?
Me at this game. Rubber bullets.
But he lets it go in exchange for being dealt into the cover-up. Okay, so the phrase rubber bullets has become like a meme in the fan base. This is a real sticking point for a lot of people.
See why.
I don't hate it as much as some people do, which is not saying much because some people say that this game is like unplayable because of this twist. So
I wouldn't say that.
My biggest problem with it genuinely is just like because we've had fake out deaths before, we've had layers of double crosses before, that's all fine. My biggest problem with it is purely logistical, in that rubber bullets exist, they are not this. They've existed since the 70s. They're big because if you shoot something that small that fast, it will still puncture someone, even if it's made of rubber. You can't just have a guy say, like, we've been inventing fake bullets for riot control. We have those. They exist.
And they still fucking hurt. They can still, they could, if
they don't work
correctly,
like this,
they can still kill. Even
this isn't how any of this works
in a game, and I'm stealing from you earlier, but in a game with golden castles and where we have fist fought two tigers, and there is an underground pleasure district, it's like, all right, fine, but maybe don't call them rubber bullets.
Like, I'll let it go, but I'm gonna be a little mad about it. My biggest complaint the first time I played through was that I was really mad about how much this undermines Saejima's character, which I've kind of turned around on. My initial reaction was like, well, all of his shit is pointless then because none of it was real.
I would argue that it's real enough to him that he walked away from that believing it was real.
And I think like the fact that all of that suffering was for nothing and was for the ends of people who were toying with him, I think fits like thematically with it. So like I've turned around on that, but I do, and that's like most of why I let the logistical things go because I think the like emotional weight of it works. So whatever.
Absolutely. If there was a more clever way to say, oh, the massacre was faked. Sure.
Yeah. I do think the concept of like staging a whole assassination and then doing it yourself anyway afterwards, you just needed the show to happen first is kind of fun.
It's interesting. It's a genuinely, it is a cool plot twist in concept.
In concept. It's so funny to me when people get super hung up on this, because it is like, there's a stupid plot twist. You mean you were playing a Yakuza game?
Right.
Buddy, I got bad news for you.
Guys, we've been here before. We will continue to come here.
But yeah, all right. That's my TED talk on rubber bullets. We can move on unless you have any other thoughts.
No. Was there anything else with Tanamura's? I think Sugiyuchi.
Yeah. So Sugiyuchi warns him to stay away from Munakata. He's like, you have to let this go or you're gonna get in more danger. Tanamura will not follow this advice because we never do.
He is going to follow this to the end, even if that means he gets killed.
Sugiyuchi gets shot by someone off screen, and then it cuts to Hasai, who is reporting to Munakata that both Sugiyuchi and Tanamura are dead, and that all he has to do now is take care of Zhao and his daughter, who he has hostage. And it cuts to black on that cliffhanger.
That sucks. Uh-oh. That's worrying. Well,
anyway,
we gotta go hang out with another boy now then. Anyway.
Oh, I did want to, this is going to be a dick move of me, but I'm going to put you on the spot real quick.
What?
Because we're going into the last part and we're going to be doing Kiryu and then the finale, with the caveat that there are 4 final bosses of this game because each guy has one. Do you have guesses for who our final bosses could be?
Oh, shit.
I want to be so clear that this is a dick move of me because you do not have enough information to... like, I am not expecting you to solve this mystery. You could not. I just want you to pull 4 names because I think it would be funny.
Okay, I have to start with Akiyama. I think Akiyama's is going to be Arai.
Okay.
Next one is Sajima. Oh, dear, Sajima. Because there could be, like, some guys could come back from the dead suddenly at the end, so I don't know. It could be...
They're all characters who we've seen on screen already. I'll say that.
But they could be characters that...
Yeah.
That we are... Like Shibata, who is presumed dead at this point. But it would not surprise me if Shibata came back. I don't know. I don't think Shibata is... I think Shibata, you could snap him in half, so I don't think he's going to be a boss. I have no clue for Sajima.
You can just pick a shot-in-the-dark joke guess if you want.
It could be Katsuragi, I guess. Oh, yeah, probably Katsuragi, and probably Tanamura, probably Munakata at this point, is my guess. And then I don't fucking know shit about
we haven't done Kiryu's part yet, so that's a little unfair.
I have no idea who Kiryu might fight at the end. So maybe a player. No, it's someone we've already seen on screen, so I have no idea. Yes. I just don't know.
I was just curious.
I don't know anything.
My friends did this to me every game, so now I have to pass the tradition on.
Oh, that'd be okay.
Pick some guys.
Pick some guys. All right, so my final answer for the first 3 at least is Akiyama versus Arai, Sajima versus Katsuragi, I guess, and Tanamura versus Munakata. I have no idea for Kiryu. I'll maybe I'll say something later, and we'll see.
Fair enough. Well, let's go find out, shall we?
All right, let's go.
Hi, this is Editing Kenzie. I'm on the wrong microphone for the next, 10 minutes, and I'm so sorry for what it sounds like. It'll go back to normal. Sorry.
Just knocked. My whole desk just shook.
Good start.
Speaking of good starts, Hamazaki lived.
He's alive! He washed up on the very same beach that Sajima washed up on.
There's only there's one direct line
singular
from that prison to...
One singular current in the ocean is just pushing these men in front of Morning Glory.
There's a sentient sea turtle working overtime to just grab every man he can find and drag him to Kiryu.
Yeah, the thing is, Kiryu rescued a sea turtle on his beach because this is a thing he would do. And now this sea turtle looked into his eyes and was like, I am indebted to you forever. Anyway,
yeah, that's kind of enough. Sure. I'll integrate that into my belief system.
Hamazaki's here.
Hamazaki's here, and Haruka understandably wants fuck all to do with it.
Yeah, she's having an extremely normal reaction to the whole situation.
Yeah, very fair on her part.
Honestly, when he came in discussion earlier, when Sajima washed up, probably should have guessed that Hamazaki lived. Probably.
Yeah.
Should have been a thought, oh.
That's fair. I think the reason the thing that was the bigger clue for me was that he was still holding the, like, secret file or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
So that was the, like, alright, so that has to come back up.
I thought maybe there would be a different way of that coming back up, but, Hamasaki.
When people get shot 3 times, it's fair to assume they're dead.
Not in this series. Not in this series. That was stupid on my part. Let's just, you don't have to sugarcoat it. That was dumb of me.
I feel like Hamazaki and Saijima's part was more like, this is a funny thing to happen. He does legitimately win me over in this part.
Yes.
He's very, like, realistic of, like, his boundaries and what he's asking of them, and when Haruka wants nothing to do with him, he's like, yeah, that's fair, and, like, even asks Kiryu for a favor, and then later is like, that was too much I'm sorry, I shouldn't have come to you with this. Like, we don't get a ton of, like, redemption arcs that actually follow through in this series. Most of them are redeem yourself and then immediately fall off a building.
It's such a short amount of time, but I felt it happening to me where I was like, oh, I care. Oh my god, I care about him? Like, I felt it actively. I actively felt myself, like, noticing, like, oh, I am invested in what happens to this guy now. I care.
I think it helps that, like, his reasoning for turning around is being like, fuck, Saejima really true. Like, he meant that. He really believed in me. I fucked up. I gotta fix this. It is very real.
I think 2 people genuinely believing in him, it fucked him up in such a way that he's like, I gotta do something about this. So real.
It's kind of a good, I've talked a little bit about how when I think about how many times Kiryu's tried to save someone and failed, it fucks me up in the head, but this kind of is the counterbalance of, like, yeah, you made a difference to this guy.
Yeah.
Still ends up dead, but that's not, we don't have to worry.
You're jumping ahead a little bit, buddy.
Kiryu some credit. For a minute.
He gets to stand up and walk around for a little bit longer, at least. There's that.
I mean, and it changed his mindset, at least, even if it didn't change his fate, necessarily. He has this file that shows that the money to build the Okinawa prison was supposed to be the 10 billion from the end of Yakuza 1. He wants Kiryu to go to Kamurocho, present that evidence of, like, police embezzlement and whatnot, and also to tell Saejima that Majima didn't betray him, because he's like, I baited him into coming with this lie, and now I feel really bad about it.
I get it,
Whoops.
Hamasaki. He didn't believe you for, like, a second. I'm gonna just be so real with you.
I do love that this is our second instance of a character being like, I'm gonna go find Saejima, and Saejima is like 10 steps ahead.
Yeah.
He's got other shit going on.
There's so much more going on right now.
We get a couple really good Haruka moments back to back. When the rest of the kids come home, she steps up to keep them all away from Hamazaki. She's like, you're not coming near any of them.
I adore her, and
She's so good.
Objectively, that is such, like, a brave move for her.
Oh, yeah.
After everything she's been through, of course. Honestly.
Yeah. So much of the series is her and Kiryu being really similar and being on the same wavelength all the time. And I love that, like, this is her tension point with him, is like, I'm not as forgiving as you are.
Mm-hmm.
Because I'm the one who have to clean up the mess if you get killed.
And she's the one who had to watch the one person that she truly cares about and love almost fucking die several times. But in that moment, it was very, like, an intimate view of the incident.
And speaking of, Kiryu pulls her aside and she's like, I don't want you going back to Kamurocho. I don't give a fuck about the truth about this money. I don't care about any of this. I want you to be safe for 5 fucking seconds. It's good. It's heartbreaking.
I love them. Their
relationship is so good.
It's so good. It remains good. I adore them.
Oh, I'm on the wrong microphone. Hang on.
Uh-oh.
Okay. I'm back to recording for real. Anyway, what was I saying? But yeah, so overhearing that conversation is what makes Hamazaki kind of backpedal to, you know what, forget all of this. I'll go back. I'll fix it. Keep your life, keep your family. But so they decide to go together to turn Hamazaki back into the police. And ever so conveniently, there's a woman there.
A lady.
Loudly yelling about Saejima.
Is that a lady that we know? Yelling about a guy
We know
that
this
we know?
woman? We get a quick little reuse of some Yakuza 3 areas, conveniently still sitting around in someone's
some
files.
assets that somebody we could use. Oh, Riki, I miss this place.
Yeah, it is a funny little reminder that, like, despite the fact that we never go back, this city is still where Kiryu spends most of his time.
Mm-hmm.
So they pool information and decide to head back to Kamurocho, but they're interrupted by some of the guards from the prison who overheard her yelling and decided to show up. And fucking Saito's here again.
No!
I remembered nothing about Kiryu's whole part of this game except this fight with Saito in the lobby of this building. Because it drove me to the edge of insanity.
It was such just a horrible realization washing over me when I saw him. Like, no. Not again.
I hate this fight. I did it the first try this time. Like, it didn't even take that long.
Yeah,
but just the lingering trauma.
It was my first time, and I got him the first time. I didn't die. I'm on easy mode. It doesn't matter. It didn't even take that long. It's just annoying.
But it
doesn't feel good to do.
He makes me want to pull my fingernails out.
It's when you have like a fight, like when you're Saejima against Kiryu. That's fun, even though it's hard. Because it's fun to do. It feels good.
This guy just fucking stun locks
and
you.
Flips
for
around
10 attacks in a row and then does a backflip. Fuck off.
Suck. Anyway, we kill him, I think.
I don't think we kill him, but we never see him again.
I like to believe in my mind that he's dead.
This is the one guy Kiryu kills.
One guy that Kiryu actually kills.
Serious? This is where he crosses the line.
I'd be okay with that.
That's fine with me. So Kiryu agrees to take Yasuko back to Kamurocho, and they get a nice little fond farewell with Hamazaki, but he, at some point in the fight, was shot in the back, so as soon as they leave, he collapses. Rip to a real one.
I do want to say before we depart from him, I really liked his fit. He had a nice little fit at the orphanage.
He had a good little
fit. Good beachside fit. I would wear this. This was a good look.
He will be missed.
Maybe Kiryu does have fashion sense. I don't know.
Maybe Kiryu has fashion sense for everyone except for himself.
Well, no, not for kids. Maybe just for other older men like him.
Maybe he just likes to dress up other older men. And we don't need to.
We don't. Who can...
We don't need to analyze that any further.
No, it's normal and fine, and it makes sense. Moving on.
Thumbs up. I mean, he's kind of got a good look in 8 when he finally gets out of the suit, but that's jumping way ahead.
I think the floral print shirt is fucking fire, but that's me
true.
In my case.
That's true. No, that's where he peaked. Mm-hmm. You're right. It's just the suit, isn't it?
It's just the suits. I think it's anytime he puts on a suit.
It's just the suit. He's got to get out of those suits, man. Speaking of which, we head back to Kamurocho and put the suit.
Yay!
Zhao and Meihua are fine, by the way.
Yay!
It cuts to Tanamura for a minute, and Hisai lied to cover up Tanamura being dead. Or lied about Tanamura being dead to cover up him being alive. Killed himself to spare Zhao and his daughter.
When did he... I missed that part when he sighed. When did he do that?
So it was like off screen. So the cliffhanger at the end of Tanamura's was, he said, all that's left is to take care of these two. And then there was a gunshot.
Oh.
And then when we get back to Tanamura, they're like, yeah, he didn't do anything to us. He took his own life instead.
Oh, okay. This is why you don't play this game at like 4 a.m. This damn.
No, it is like one line of dialogue. He also teams up with Akiyama because Akiyama has to get out of the office because he's bored. That too. He needs to get out of the office. End of sentence.
Lacking enrichment.
The office being searched is a pretense and is just Katsuragi doing shit. But it's very funny that Akiyama's like, yeah, I'm being investigated for coercion. Apparently when you pay people to do things they don't want to do, that's considered illegal. And so,
I guess.
It's a fake charge for an excuse to rob him blind. But they have a...
Kind of? But
I mean, buddy.
the people usually do, like, agree to the test.
This
There
is
is
true.
like, an
This is true.
agreement made. But I get
It's just the way he walks into Homeland and is like, apparently. I'm skating a line of legality.
It's the closest thing to a real charge a fake charge can be. We'll say that.
But yes, while they're having their Beavis and Butthead moment, Kiryu heads to New Serena and Date's there.
Hey! He's so cute in this game. I'm gonna get that out of the way.
So, his little apron fit. Look
He's
at him go.
bartending, and he's so cute behind the
bartending.
bar in his little fit.
So Yasuko gives us a bit of a backstory dump about how she needed a kidney transplant. Her only match was her father, who was a Yakuza, and Saejima went to try to convince him to give it to her.
Probably should make note, Saejima and Yasuko are step-siblings, and that's the major contention point here.
Oh, yeah.
Why Saejima couldn't give his kidney.
Yeah. That's why he couldn't give his. But yeah, so Sasai fronted the money so that Saejima could get him to give her the kidney. And in exchange, Saejima joined the Yakuza at age
15. Hensi.
And gave up his dream of being a teacher.
Hensi! This can't turn into another 20 minutes of sobbing over Saejima again.
Can end it well.
God damn it. As she's telling the story, I'm like, oh, and it just keeps getting worse. Oh. And then the school
The
teacher.
teacher thing gets me so
The
bad.
school teacher thing is where I fucking break. Like, no.
I feel like he's the only, like, because Kiryu and Nishiki only ever wanted to be Kazama. God knows when Majima got involved in all this. But, like, he's the only one who we get, like, this is what I would have done if not this. Like, everyone else had no other plan.
This Saejima did and had to give it all up for his sister and did it gladly. And I want to grow up about it.
And then 5 years later, he gave up the rest of his life for it, too. Like, fuck me.
Anyway, we have to go. Kenzie, we have to move on.
We have to move on. we can't. This will be the whole night.
It'll just be us moaning about Saejima.
Kiryu decides to go meet with Majima to get more information about whatever's going on. Unfortunately, Majima's going to jail.
Yeah, you get to the Millennium Tower and, oh, who's that coming out with all those cops? Oh, that's pretty bad. That's concerning.
This is such a minor thing. I should have looked up what the original Japanese is before I make this point, but I'm going to make it anyway. The original translation of Majima's last line here is, "You're all I've got, Kazi," and they changed it to "You're all we've got."
I saw.
Why do they hate gay people?
Hate gay people? What's that about?
Majima gets backseated pretty hard moving forward. He's already pretty backseated in this game.
Yeah, because he had a couple of moments, and then you don't see him again from this moment until the post-credit scene.
Yeah.
Like, oh, he's just gone.
They increasingly have this problem of, because Majima is a very, like, shrewd and competent leader and is holding the Tojo together, anytime they want to have a big Yakuza conflict, they have to get Majima out of the picture. So, like, in 3, he had to be being blackmailed the whole time. In 4, he gets arrested. Whatever. They have to keep, like, shuffling him off.
You had to stop yourself from telling me what's going on in 5.
Don't worry about it.
Like, break on, like, a dime. I heard the screech of tires.
Don't worry about it. He's fine. Everything's fine.
I don't like your tone.
But yeah, so in this case, Daigo wanted him out of the picture, so he's getting arrested. What do you mean, Daigo?
What
are you doing, Daigo?
Doing?
What's that
That's
about?
Weird.
What's Daigo doing? What's the Daigo doing?
What did Daigo doing?
So Daigo's been making some choices. And I am not going to become Daigo Dojima's defense attorney.
Kenzie.
Yet.
Yeah, I was about to say.
Yet. We'll get
that is an inevitability. We will be getting to the final battle. So the plan is, Munakata has pitched a way out of their Ueno Seiwa problem, which is that he will get rid of them through whatever police raids.
and he'll fund the Tojo, and in exchange, Arai will become the Tojo captain and be Munakato's liaison between the police and the Yakuza, because he thinks that they should be like a united force to bring order to the nation, or whatever the fuck. Which is, I mean, he's saying the quiet part out loud a little bit.
A little bit. He's got a megaphone going on, Buzz. Whatever.
So this is the plan Daio has agreed to and gotten Majima arrested so that he's out of the way. My boy.
It's a plan, but
it's... I guess it's a plan.
My boy. Are we...
We'll get...
Are we still feeling the ramifications of Mine? Like, are we still... spiraling a little bit.
It's only been a year. He's still got brain damage from the coma. But man, he's doing his best.
He misses his ex.
We've all been there.
We make bad decisions. This is what we do.
Meanwhile, Katsuragi has Saejima held captive and tells him the truth about the hit. Kido walks in, dropping that he's been working with Katsuragi. And he's... With
a Nishikiyama ass fit, let me just say.
He's got a Nishikiyama ass fit. He looks sick as hell. He's slaying.
This is his like big evil reveal, and he's got a white suit and his hair slicked back, and he's like, I'm bad now.
He's so cool.
He's so cool.
And he has all of Akiyama's money.
A little bit Akiyama's fault. We'll get into that later.
Listen, a lot of the end of this game is me defending my boys.
You can look, Daigo. I can see you. It makes sense. Akiyama's a little stupid. We just can't.
I have no defense for Akiyama.
There's really not much you can say about Akiyama's choices at this point, but...
So after failing to meet with Majima, Kiryu goes back to New Serena, and Yasuko has bailed, knocked out Date and ran, and somehow met up with Tanamura and Akiyama, apparently.
And also, she roofied Date. Where she got that? I don't know. She's a killer. She does this. This is a little hobby she does.
Yeah, she's got resources. We get this whole slapstick bit as Kiryu's catching up to them in the sewer. They're like, "Oh God, we're being tailed," and send Yasuko away. Give her the gun. Tell her to run. And then none of these boys know who each other are, so they get in a big ol' fight.
It's a good fight. It's funny.
It's
this
a good
whole thing, though,
fight.
it's very funny. Like, can you all say your names at some point during this conversation, please?
I think so. The way it plays out, the assumption is meant to be just that, like, she didn't realize it was Kiryu behind them and just heard, like, a voice. But I like to believe, because the conversation before he goes to see Majima, Kiryu's like, "I'm gonna find your brother, and you're gonna sit right here, because you are way too fucking emotionally fucked right now, and I need you to chill out, and I'm gonna go handle this, because if you get involved, you're gonna do something stupid." And so I like to believe she knew it was Kiryu coming, but he already told her to fuck off, so she was like, "I'm taking these guys. This is the horse I'm betting on. I'm out of here."
I got things to do. I gotta go.
The fucking quick time event where both of them have latched onto Kiryu's arms, and he's just holding them both up is beautiful cinema.
Just two
10 out of 10.
lemurs on a gloriously large tree. It's what a good scene.
He just throws them around.
Like they're little rag dolls.
The power scaling in this game of like Kiryu and Saejima are equally matched. These two together cannot be Kiryu. But yeah, it's a good fight. The three of them go running down into purgatory, but Saejima's gone. They just find the florist, who has not done much this game.
No, but he's here in his pajamas, so things are good. Maybe not good.
Well,
he's crumpled on the floor, bleeding, but
yeah, whatever. But yeah, so that was a bust. So they head back to Sereno. And this is where we get Akiyama.
Akiyama, buddy.
So he has it. So it starts with him being like, "Oh man, so bummed about his money being gone," and then he's immediately like, "Well, I mean, I know who stole it and how, probably, because I don't have a code or a lock on my vault, and I leave the door unlocked."
And the last person I saw wandering around in there was Keto. And you might be wondering, how much money was it? Because somebody asked that. I think it was Tanimura. And he's like, oh yeah, like 100 billion. Akiyama.
I hate him so bad.
A vault with no lock, no code, no like thumb
no
thing.
lock, no code, no lock on the door, but he knows where all the books go on the bookshelf. What's wrong with him?
What's the use of a vault that doesn't lock properly?
What's wrong with him? What's the use of, he's like, oh, I figured Keto probably messed with it because the books were in the wrong order, and you did nothing about it? Did you check?
Did you maybe think to get like a better lock on the vault? I don't know, do something?
To lock the front door?
Do something?
What's wrong with him?
This is Kamurocho!
You live in Kamurocho!
Akiyama!
I need to study him. I do like the bit where he's like, well, I keep it all with me because I don't trust banks. Yeah, no shit.
It's understandable. Understandable reaction. I understand
That's the
that.
one part of this that's reasonable. Everything
else fucks with me.
Everything else. He also drops his, well, this week hasn't been all bad because I got to meet my hero, Kiryu Kazuma.
How do you feel about that? Tell me about it.
I can't get into this. We can't do this here. See, you thought we've been making all the Kazumaju jokes. I've been fighting for a different team this whole time. I'm a turncoat.
I saw that when I was streaming. I saw you come out from the other side of the stage, gonna rip off your trench coat, and
ripping off my jersey to reveal. I don't have anything further to elaborate on that. I just wanted to let you all know where my allegiances lie.
I like it all. Let him kiss men.
No, yeah, I play for every team.
Let Kiryu kiss men.
Listen, let Kiryu kiss men. I feel like this went. I didn't appreciate this as much the first time around, but the way that so much of 4 ties back to 1 is really fun. Mm-hmm. Both in like
a lot of things coming full circle and fully around, which is really cool. Especially after so many games 2 games, but 2 games in between. That's enough time for this to all like really hit hard, and I think that's cool.
Yeah, because there's been like stuff from the last game coming back or whatever, but the gap of like, oh, it's been 5 years since this happened, but we're learning more about why and how it happened is. So our last bargaining piece we have is the file with all of the information. So they call Katsuragi and set up a meeting with him. And he says, yeah, you can meet me at the top of Kamurocho Hills, and the whole Ueno Seiwa family is going to be in your way because I do not want you getting up here at full strength.
I am not like the other guys you have fought.
Yeah,
which is kind of cool. Like, I intend to live after this.
I enjoyed that he calls them out by name.
Yeah,
he's like, I'm not like Nishikiyama or Ryuji Goda dying for the sake of honor. Some of us want to survive.
Yeah.
Just kind of a raw ass.
Kind of. For like a sniveling piece of shit antagonist. Kind of a good
to be
line.
Like, I'm a sniveling piece of shit because I do not care about like doing this honorably. I just want to win. I also Akiyama immediately catching on to, well, when Kiryu decides to do something stupid, there's no stopping it. He's immediately like, yeah, whatever. All right. You go climb this stupid tower.
I'm not gonna fight you on this. I got other things to worry about.
Yeah. Got other problems. So we get another big ol' insane combat gauntlet.
It's good. Kamurocho Hills is a mall, which I didn't know that. That's pretty cool.
We get our like half-built peek at it.
Biggest thing I remember from this whole sequence of fighting through the mall and going up and all that.
Oh my god.
One of the items you can pick up to fight off people with is a little handbag, and it's labeled in the corner as Kamurocho Hills special bag, and it's like a little purse, and it's the way Kiryu holds it sent us both into such a tizzy. I was in
physical pain. I thought I was legitimately gonna throw up.
Okay, so peek behind the curtain for me was I had a colonoscopy the next day, so I hadn't eaten much that day at all. I was already lightheaded. I thought I was going to black out.
For Kiryu in a special bag.
A special little handbag.
He holds it the way you would hold, like, a bag of trash. Like, you don't want it to touch you.
I thought he had a fruity little walk.
He did have a little walk with it. Oh my god.
There were several times I had to just stop. I
kept thinking about it 10 minutes later, laughing again.
I was begging you to shut the hell up because it was just a feedback loop of laughter.
This is the closest this series has come to killing people.
What a way to go, though. The last thing on your mind. Kiryu in his special little purse.
Yeah, no, that'd be good. I'm good with that.
And I guess the later parts I really liked because they reminded me of the Ninja Maze from 2. That was also pretty good.
It did smack of the Ninja Maze.
It smacked of the Ninja Maze.
At the top, Katsuragi has Yasuko and Saejima and the 100 billion. Is obviously planning to betray everyone and kill them all. Like this is obviously not a deal we're actually making.
No. He said it out loud, basically. He's not in it for the honor. He does not care.
Uh-huh.
We knew going into this. It was going to be a shit show from start to finish.
We have a little bit of a flashback to 2 when we were getting turncoats left and right, because we have Kido turns on Katsuragi and shoots him and is like, well, I've been on Arai's side this whole time. And Arai shows up and immediately shoots Kido. And Katsuragi's alive because he wore a bulletproof vest, of course, obviously. He's been through this before.
Yeah. And there was, like, no active blood. We saw this.
Yeah, there's no...
Yes, there's a lot of turncoats and stuff. A lot of this just makes sense to me. I mean, sure, I'm like, oh, what's happening?
No, that's fair.
Nothing about 2's. I'm still mad about 2's ending. So I'm not going to dredge that up again, but I did like this sequence a little bit more.
Arai, I think, after he shoots Kido, has a line to Kiryu. Is it Arai? I think it's Arai. Who tells Kiryu, you're always too late. That's why these things happen.
Oh.
Fucking gets
yes,
my
it
ass.
was Arai. Oh, yeah, that was...
Yeah, just this, like, running theme of Kiryu only being there for the people he loves in moments of crisis and never before when he could actually stop them.
Fucking, not salt, but, like, chili pepper into that wound.
Yeah. Our old friend Cutscene Gun.
Cutscene Gun!
Well, this is Cutscene Gun negative.
Oh, no, Cutscene Gun.
Because this bit, I'm pretty forgiving of people in this series are dumbasses when there's a gun on the screen.
Oh, yeah.
This is an established fact and is criticized a lot. I let a lot of it go because people in real life are dumbasses when there's guns around. But this bit where Saejima has the chance to kill Katsuragi and is like, you don't even deserve, you're not even worth killing, and gets up and walks away. And so Katsuragi immediately shoots Yasuko. Sorry, Taiga, that's your fault. I got nothing for you, buddy. That's on you. You gotta live with that one.
Dangerous man in this situation that's left. You have to take him out.
Yeah, I give people a lot of slack. I hit a limit.
There's a limit here. This was very actively your fault. This was a choice you made. It was a bad one.
On the upside, Katsuragi dies like a bitch.
Because Yasuko, still standing, because she's a bad bitch, takes him out while he's sniveling on the floor, pissing his pants. Fuck that guy.
Fuck that guy.
And it's the last thing she gets to do, and it's pretty cool. It's pretty sick with it.
Yeah. And there was the little aside where it shouldn't be funny, but when they first get up there and Kiryu is like helping untie Yasuko and stuff, she's like, what? We had plenty of time to talk while we were held captive together, which feels like an odd aside, but knowing that she's about to die feels like him going like, no, it's fine. They had their reunion. Don't worry about it.
It does not make the tragedy any less.
It does not make it fine.
Bad.
Sorry to women.
Sorry, women.
We are in
finale chapter.
Finale time. Munakata is giving Arai shit for letting Kido live. Because Kido lived, by the way.
Yeah. One gunshot to the stomach is not going to kill someone.
Nah, he's fine. Kido lived and got away with money. I don't know. The money was left behind. Arai didn't take it. So Munakata's like, all right, here's how we fix this. You're gonna kidnap Kiryu's kids. Arai refuses and shoots him, but there's no blood.
In the cutscene, you can visually see he did not die.
Because Yakuza 4 has one plot twist.
One! Can you guess what it is?
I let the bullets go once. You don't get to use them again.
The boys, meanwhile, are going the fuck through it, having a little funeral for Yasuko. Akiyama being super torn up about her dying is a little bit funny because when they reunite in the later chapters, there's nothing romantic to it. So I kind of half forgot that was a thing that was happening until he's devastated, and I'm like, oh.
Yakuza will continue to be bad at having romantic plot.
Yeah. Haruka calls Kiryu to tell him that oh my god.
You got it.
There were 2 H names in that sentence, and I fucked them both. Haruka calls Kiryu to tell him that Hamazaki died, but before he did, he asked him to keep the Tojo clan safe because it's the only proof left that guys like us ever existed, which is also on the list of lines that haunt me. After this conversation, Kiryu goes out to talk to Saejima. The little conversation is basically we have an obligation to finish this because our lives are not our own and haven't been since we decided to join the Yakuza, be part of this bullshit.
They kind of have a sit down on the couch together and,
yeah.
I don't know, come together finally. It feels like a cohesive moment.
Yeah, I like the multi-protagonist games. I think that it's a fun change of format. I'm kind of glad they stopped doing them because I like them, but they make the story feel way more broken up because it is way more broken up. But also, the way that they divide them, there's less of a sense that these guys are actually friends because they've been around each other for 10 minutes.
Yeah. I don't know. I felt they had enough things common motivation and threads that led them together that it felt fine to me. Didn't feel too.
Yeah, no, I think that they work as I guess I'm saying this having played 7 where those guys are best friends and hang out the whole game. So in comparison, I think that this makes more sense for who Kiryu is as a person, that he just has people with common goals that he joins up with and then separates again because Kiryu doesn't have friends.
No, not my boy.
But yeah, I do enjoy this. They make their game plan that they're gonna put all of Akiyama's money up on the roof of the Millennium Tower and just see who shows up and figure out who's pulling the strings behind all of this. And they all put their hands in for a handshake. Do a little go team.
It's the Yakuza 4! Yay! It was really cute. I like that cutscene a lot.
Yeah. There's a lot of the end of 4 that's stupid and cheesy as hell, but is really fun.
There's a big old smile on my face the whole time.
Yeah. Because then afterwards they have their little funeral for Yasuko, so they're all in their black suits that are all slightly different styles, which is cute. Akiyama's is a little unbuttoned and slutty because you gotta show up to your girlfriend's funeral looking for other options.
You gotta show off the goods a little.
But yeah, so we get this dramatic lineup of them in front of the Millennium Tower and their fits. It's good.
It's good.
We get the money's on the top of the tower, and all of our final bosses show up.
I was partially right.
You were you had.
I was half.
You had 3 right.
Yeah.
Or no, you had.
I had 2. I guess Akiyama and Arai, which I was correct.
Munakata,
Tanimura and Munakata. I kept going back and forth on the last leg of this journey with Munakata because I thought that little old man would crumple with one punch to the face.
I wish he fucking would, man.
The way they did his boss fight, it makes sense. So. Yeah. Okay, so I was half right. The other 2 I could not have seen at the point you asked me.
No, yeah.
There was no way I was going to guess
that I was asking way too early.
I would have probably said Daigo as a joke, because there were many times where he came up in my brain, and I was like, maybe, but I feel stupid if I say it out loud. And so I didn't. But goddamn the game
When my friends
delivered.
made me ask, I said Daigo as a joke. this keeps happening. So our final info dump of motivations. Daigo has been piloting Kido this whole time and using him to manipulate Katsuragi. The whole throwing him off and like luring him out so that they could kill him was part of Daigo's plan. This is where I become an apologist a little bit. The end goal was never to go along with Munakata. It was that they were going to take out Katsuragi without his help, and they would have gotten out of that deal if Yasuko had lived and Kiryu and Saitama had just left town. But she didn't, and they didn't, so now Dad has to show up and show him what's what. I'm not going to argue the fact that he's a little... It was a stupid plan. It was risking way too much. It was a slap in the face to everyone who got him there. Absolutely. But he's not wrong when he says that the Tojo clan has nothing else left. It is just him and Majima and no money. I don't think it was a good plan. I don't think it was a good move. I don't think anyone else had a better plan.
The Tojo has been in dire straits for so many years.
It's been
Daigo inherited such a shit show. And I get it. He was backed into a very tight corner. It sucked ass, but still a bad plan.
No, it was a bad fucking plan. He's stupid.
I'm starting to understand your taste in men.
Man, come on! What did I do? Why am I catching strays?
Because it's funny.
Anyway, Arai, meanwhile, has been an undercover cop this whole time, working for Munakata, but he is over that too. And Munakata shows up because he's alive, because it was a rubber bullet again. Whatever.
Yeah, rubber bullet.
And these are our four bosses. Munakata's our ringleader. The boys fly in.
Splits off.
Yeah, the boys fly in on a helicopter to dramatically blow all the money into the sky again, and then split off to each fight their individual fights.
Another point for cutscene direction in this game, because the visual of money just flying everywhere at the top of the Millennium Tower is what a good visual this whole situation is.
Speaking of callbacks to 1,
yeah,
I really like that each of these boss fights kind of has a different tone to them. Like, so Arai and Akiyama are like betrayal thing. Kido and Saejima, it's like Saijima's not even mad at Kido, really. He's kind of like, I told you to go balls out and you did, and I need you to prove that, like, I need you to stand by it. Like, yeah, it's more of a test. Kiryu and Daigo is like teaching a lesson, and then Munakata and Tanamura are just like fully revenge.
That's a hero and a villain sort of situation.
Yeah.
It's a good set of fights and a really good finale.
It's a good set of fights.
I appreciated some of the fights were starting to piss me off a little bit. I was like, oh no, I don't want to fight as Saejima anymore.
Kido was kind of thrashing me, I'll be real.
And then of course Tanimura and Munakata. Oh, it's so bad. It's so bad.
I do want to give a shout out to how funny it is that in Arai and Akiyama's fight, Arai rips his shirt off in like full Yakuza fashion. He has no tattoo. He just rips it off. Akiyama does not, which feels very weird. The vibes of a guy ripping his shirt off and the other guy going, that's cool. Anyway.
They were just afraid to show off Akiyama's little pooch belly and what you would do when you saw it.
Listen, I am legitimately, I do think that if because there's not a single guy who's shirtless in this series who doesn't, except for like, there's some older guys who are fat, I guess. Mm-hmm. I do legitimately think the reason they didn't have Tim take his shirt off is because they didn't want to give him a 6-pack, and I do appreciate that. That was for me. That was a gift to me.
It would not have looked right. It's like putting a shirt on a dog. No, don't do that.
It would have been wrong.
Get that off. Does he have a tattoo on his back later? Or
Akiyama?
Yeah, no.
Yeah. He's not. He was never Yakuza.
All right. I don't know if he got one just for fun. Seems like something he would do.
I've seen a popular thing to do for the bit is to give him a tramp stamp, but no, that's not canon.
I've seen fan art. I go on Tumblr. I follow you. I see the things you blog.
You should stop looking at the things I blog. My one last, before I let it go,
Your Honor, I have one last argument for my client. Kiryu saying, like, what, I'm done running, because, okay, he starts...
collect your files.
Listen, my papers are everywhere, they're all over the floor. Okay, so Kiryu starts by being like, I shouldn't have left you in charge alone. That was my fault. I'm gonna stop running away from my mistakes. Abjectly not true. You are going to have this fight, and then you are going to fuck off back to Okinawa. Do not lie to my face.
Right.
Listen here. I love Kiryu dearly, and I love him even more when he's a hypocritical asshole. So this is all very affectionate, but this fight does make me kind of insane. It does kind of make me want to throw him off the building. Anyway.
I absolutely see that. I think he's getting to that age, and it's just hard-headedness.
Oh yeah. I mean, yeah, they're equally hard-headed.
Yeah.
That's why we're here. I do like that Tanemura gets the final sort of badass showdown with Munakata. Mm-hmm. I like that they don't just give it to Kiryu for the sake of giving it to Kiryu.
Right. And it makes sense. It fits.
Yeah,
thematically.
like he's the one that this is the most like personal for. But bitch ass fight. There's a bunch of guys with guns.
It's Jingu all over again.
It's Jingu. This really is just one, huh?
It really is. It just feels like Jingu, but it's worse.
I kept running around his bodyguards and just kicking the shit out of him, which was funny until he went down, and then I had to fight all of his bodyguards. What? It's a fight, by God. They decide not to kill him afterwards so that he can face his justice in prison or whatever, and he gives his whole speech on, you can't kill me, the nation needs police and needs people in power to bring control and order, and
the people need cops.
I am not a fascist. I just have all of their talking points. So Akiyama calls in Date, who is inexplicably in a helicopter with Pseudo. How did he talk Pseudo into doing this?
He always flies into the final battle.
What is his relationship with Pseudo now that he can convince Pseudo to show up in a helicopter?
Besties.
I want to believe that they're besties.
Their ride or die.
Good for them. But he has a helicopter full of newspapers detailing all of Munakata's crimes that he just drops. So Munakata, in his last moment of desperation, shoots at Akiyama, but a wad of cash in his pocket protects him. Wow.
It wasn't that quick. Because they stuck on, they were giving you like a whole fake out. Look, he's dying in his arms. The money saved the money guy.
It's almost like for all the trouble that money causes, it can also save people. It really makes you think.
Uh-huh.
Anyway. So since that doesn't work, Munakata shoots himself.
Yeah.
Fair enough. Plan B. And we get our little epilogues. RGG commits heinous crimes against Hana.
Awful. I was so mad about this.
Leave her alone.
Do not do this to her ever
nasty
again.
bitch.
I'll fucking kill you.
Rat bastard motherfuckers. It feels grosser that they're like, oh, well, she's like, oh, I've just lost weight because I've been so stressed I haven't been eating. Like, you can't even make it like, oh, I decided to, like, focus on myself and improve it. No, it's literally just, like, unhealthy starvation weight loss. But she looks so hot now. Whatever.
The only good thing about that is Akiyama is like, I'm not going to kiss you until you eat something, like, right now.
Yeah, He's like, this isn't a romantic scene. I bought you lunch.
Eat now, please.
Date has chosen to rejoin the Force. His moral compass is inscrutable to be like, well, clearly the police need me. I have to turn them right again. Like, okay.
I guess.
If you say so.
I think you could do so much better work as a journalist.
Yeah.
Just keep exposing their asses.
For real. Yeah, the fact that, like, him being a journalist is what fixed this, and he's like, well, I have to go back to...
Yeah, because fixing from the inside has worked out so
It's
well.
worked out really well for everyone
Really
who's tried
well.
it. Yeah.
Anyway, Tanamura's also going back to the police. That's great.
Yeah, Tanamura, and is never seen again.
Bye. I liked you. I wish you could have gotten more of a character arc. Bye.
I don't know. I wasn't like super attached to Tanamura as a character, but he becomes very conspicuous when they bring up Little Asia again, and we don't see the Little Asia guy again. After the credits, Saejima is being sworn into the Tojo as a patriarch and getting his own family. Wow.
Yay! And Majima and Taigo are there to greet him.
There.
And it's so...
Wow.
Yay! That made me happy. That made me genuinely very happy. I'm sure this will have such ramifications later, but let me be happy in this moment.
It's such a crazy scene because it's like, we know that there's no good ending to this. Like, we're 4 games in. I think we can say pretty definitively, you should not be in the Yakuza. But it's like all the 2 of them ever wanted, and like this is essentially their happy ending.
Dude, they're not gonna give a man who was in jail for 25 years a teaching license. So this is where we're at.
Yeah, it really is. Like,
That's heartbreaking.
The real villain of this series is the way we criminalize people for life and the lack of resources for reintegrating into society.
And that's the lesson we should leave it with everyone. At the end of this.
This was Yakuza 4. Fuck
was
the
Yakuza
police. Abolish the prison system.
Good game. I like game. Good video game.
No, I appreciated it a lot more the second time around, I feel like. I think the first time it was kind of a blur.
I enjoyed it. I enjoyed getting to hop around these. I got to meet a lot of new characters. I got to experience a lot of moments that some of the earlier games, at least the Kiwamis and Zero were like leading up to. And that was kind of fun. Mm-hmm. And I'm very excited for 5, but you have to go to war.
I have to go to war.
We might try to watch Dead Souls between this and then. But
Dead Souls is... If we do Dead Souls, we'll probably do like a bonus little like 1 recording episode. I do not have 3 hours worth of things to say about Dead Souls.
This is the last we'll hear of you in the before time. Is there anything you want to say before you go and you die? But you can't die because you can't leave me here.
I'm so fucking scared. Infinite Wealth is 10 days away, and I am full of a bone-deep terror at every second of every day. You have no idea.
I am too, because if you don't make it back, I don't get to continue. I'm gonna be the dog from Futurama.
I will not make you the dog from Futurama, I promise. Because I really want to replay 5. I want
to experience 5. 5 looks so fun. It sounds so fun. I will
come back. I will come back to play 5, I promise you.
And even more than that, I want to play 0 after 5. Because I know it's going to do such irreparable damage to my psyche.
See, now you've been caught in the cycle. Now you see how it goes. You get to the end and go, I have to do it all again.
I have to do it all again.
Welcome to my hell.
Oh no! Alright. Well, that's it. That's the show. We'll see you later.
Alright. We'll see you later.